It says the stream is live now.
All right.
But I'm not seeing it on the screen yet.
Okay, but there's always a 10-second delay for YouTube, so let's see what happens in 10 seconds.
I'm not seeing it on the screen yet.
Started? Okay, but there's always a 10-second delay. Okay, Vivian says okay. Karen says yes. We see you. And we see you. Wow. So sorry about that, everyone. Boy, that really sucks and really pisses me off. Because that means there's going to be 5 minutes of wasted time at the beginning for the rewind people, I think. Holy shit, that sucks big time. Wow. So it's funny because I was answering you guys when you were saying I was fashionably late. And I was saying yes, but only because I was like maybe 1 minute fashionably late. And then we started realizing, you know, Heidjer said Heidjer's looking on another computer and he's going, I don't know, but it hasn't started here. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's just frozen. Press play, and then it wasn't starting. And then we started realizing, oh, wait a second. Maybe you guys are not seeing us and you're just making comments. And that's why we realized we both better start posting comments to see if you guys can see us yet or not. So that was crazy. Wow. Heidjer, Marcus wants you to know that in order to make up for this delay, we will be going 3 hours overtime. Not going to happen, Marcus. But he does says, hail Heidjer. And what about the guy? Come on, Ruben, we thought you were a pro at this. You know what? I've been screwing up the starts a lot lately, so who the hell knows what happened there. I'm so sorry, everyone. And for you, those of you on watching this on Rewind, so sorry, especially to you because you're probably wondering what the hell's going on. Hopefully you're smart enough to just realize some problem happened and you're fast forwarding those first 5-6 minutes. And yeah, hopefully you still watch the show. My lovely wife is welcoming you, Heidjer. And Tariq, what's up? No dinner with the family tonight, Tariq. Or is there? Good to see you, sir. Always. Thank you. I appreciate it. So anyways, again, Kazra, you're back. Greetings, Heidjer and the Ruben. Thank you. Greetings to you, Kazra. Yeah, I sorry, that really threw us off. It was certainly thrown me off. Rocky start means a solid finish. Let's hope so. I'm sure it will be. It can't be any worse than how it started. So that's for sure. So I think we'll be okay, everyone. Before we get into the show, you're going to be out tonight. No worries, Ian. Thank you for coming in and saying hello. Good to see you as always. I'm happy to know I contributed to the Canadian economy this week, Ruben. And how did you do that? Oh, you made a purchase from Nick Bradshaw. I don't know how that benefits the economy here so much as it just benefits Nick, but I'll take that. They're at home today. Excellent. Yeah, so guys, I just wanted to say real quick, there's not a lot of news to start off with today. But really quickly, I might as well just let those of you who still don't know and still haven't checked out the channel, I've just put in the direct link to the latest video for our friend Karen. And it is yet another unboxing. For those of you who missed the last one, it was a monstrosity of an unboxing. And by that, I mean, it literally was humongous. So you might want to check that out. I'll give you a hint. It's a Kirby related piece of art. So maybe that makes you want to go and see it if you haven't seen it. But what she didn't reveal in the previous episode a couple of weeks ago is that in that unboxing, there was another piece of art that she didn't show us because she wanted to save it for another unboxing. And there goes Heidjer. Off the deep end, as they say. So I'm sure he'll be back. And I'll pop him in as soon as he clicks that link. There he is. Don't know what happened to you, my friend, but
yeah, I have no idea.
Oh,
that's
okay.
one of those nights, I think.
Okay. You didn't click any button or
no.
Oh.
I wouldn't
Okay.
dare. Wouldn't dare.
the gremlins are out tonight. Let's hope they're not too bad. But as I was saying, so Karen posted a video of an unboxing of that piece that she didn't open 2 weeks ago. So imagine that she had to with great difficulty not look at a piece of art she bought for a couple of weeks just so she could save it for this unboxing, which she did 2 days ago. And that link that I just put in will show you what that piece of art is. And it's about a 12-minute video or so lots of fun as always, so please check it out. Okay, aside from that, is there anything else? Thank you to the one subscriber that subscribed this week to me. I don't know your name. I couldn't see it because of your privacy settings. But I did want to say that here, let me refresh real quick on another browser before I say what I'm going to say. Oops. Okay, so because I was just speaking about our friend Karen, I also wanted to say, so she has met that first goal of getting her first 100 subscribers, you know, a couple of months back. Then she had 200, then 300, then 400. And although typically 500 is the next goal, for me, in my mind, her next goal to shoot for was to pass my tiny little number of 455. And so I just wanted to say that Karen is currently at 453, so needs just 3 more subscribers to pass me and leave me in her dust. So for any of you who still have not checked out her channel, once you go check out her channel through that link I left you, please, if you like what you see, consider giving her a subscribe. And hopefully by the time that I check again tonight after this show, she will have officially passed me, and she and I can celebrate. All right, so that being said, let me think anything else. I don't think anything else news-wise, but before we get to the show and tell, just wanted to let you all know that last week, when we did that really fun show on should faded inks be re-inked, I actually had made several slides of examples to show, and I only realized after the show that we never got past the first example. So I showed you guys this one, you'll remember, right? And then we got into a great discussion. And the nice thing is that it shows you we had a really entertaining discussion, because not a single person, including myself, realized, even though I had mentioned there were more than one example, that I never showed more than one example. So just really quick for all of you who were here last week, and for anybody popping in for the first time or the first time in a long time and is kind of new to the hobby and doesn't know what I mean by re-inking faded art, or art that has turned pigmentation from black to kind of maroonish, purplish. Bad markers with bad quality ink fade over time or turn purple. And so in the 1980s, early to mid 80s, there were a few artists that used some really bad markers to ink their work, and that art has either faded, turned purplish, maroonish, or both. And so last week's show was about that. So you should find that show and watch it on Rewind when you have a chance. But in the meantime, let me just quickly show you, just for fun, the handful of extra slides I wanted to show last week, just for more examples for those of you who are interested. Here we go. Check this out. So this is the bottom of this, right? So this is the one inset panel to the splash page. And this was the splash I was supposed to show after that. Really, really killer Thanos splash. So as you can see, it didn't really fade, but it definitely turned purple and then seems to have been re-inked, unfortunately. So that's before and after what you're looking at, everyone. And then I have 2 other pages, I believe, but I broke them down into tiers. So, or maybe it's just one page here. So this is the before. So it's not faded, but it did turn pigmentation, and that's what came after. And then we have this tier here. So it started to turn purplish, and then it's blacker again here after being re-inked. And then this last example, again, not faded, but you know, kind of that maroon purplish color. and then afterwards, after being re-inked, there you go. That's what you get. So there you
It
go.
looks like they also bleached the page a little bit in addition to re-inking it.
Well, that's not necessarily the case. It could simply be that the person, that's just a factor of the scan when they rescanned it after re-inking. You know, it could just be the contrast is turned up highly or whatever. So yeah, there's no way to know for sure, you know. And so before we get into the show and tell with Heidjer, let me just take the last few comments that came in. You're very welcome, Karen. My pleasure. 25 watching, only 12 likes. Yeah, please. Thank you, CJ. Thanks. Hit the like button if you're watching. I'd appreciate that. There's 27 of you. I'd appreciate that. Just hit that thumbs up. It only takes one click. It's not difficult to do. It will be bittersweet. Thank you, Karen. That's very nice of you. Thank you. But I'll be very proud of you, though. So I'll be very happy. I forgot you had the others. I was a bad guest. You were not the guest. Don't forget. You were my co-host. You were my co-host, Jason. Heidjer Staecker. Sorry, Heidjer. Do the Americans say Staecker or Stecker? Or is it something else? Are you listening to me, Heidjer? Okay, he froze. Oh, man, there's something going on. So I don't know, everybody. I don't know. Man, I don't know how we're going to do this. Heidjer, can you hear me? Apparently not. Okay, well, let me just... Okay, I guess he'll have to come back. We'll ask him when he comes back, man, and I hope I don't have to do the show and tell like without him. I don't know what's going on. Purple haze all in my brain lately ain't seem the same. I love the musical reference. Morrow art is not that expensive. Get that re-inked. Well, I don't want to go there, Marcus. I wouldn't want to do it to anybody's art. Let's leave it there. Could be the scanner setting. Exactly. Good evening to you, John. Good to see you. Jesus, good evening. Wow. This is not a sales show, Jesus. Are you sure you got the right show, my friend? Wow. It's been a while, man. Been a while. Great to see you. Colloquialism. You're getting on my nerves. Okay, that's for the shirt. Man. I hope he's able to come back. Not 2 hours late, Tom. Wow. Awesome. Are you here for the duration? That's the question. I want to know if you're going to be here. Not that I know that there's going to be a show tonight, because my awesome guest is having technical troubles. Since I'm not having technical troubles anymore, and you guys are seeing and hearing me, God, I hope you guys are hearing and still seeing me. Yeah, I don't know if we'll have a show, because I don't feel right about doing the show and tell without having the collector who owns the art here with me. And now I'm starting to get a little worried, because I don't know if the comments are just not coming in on time, or if just people are not commenting in real time. Sure was a re-inking, not a black and white scan. Actually, Mickey, and by the way, hello. That can be the case sometimes, but my scan shows that the tape on top and bottom are yellow. So that's what, I suspected at first that it was what you were saying. That was a possibility. But then I realized, oh no, the tape is yellow. So it was an RGB scan. So yes, it was a color scan, just with contrast turned up, Thanks, Karen. Thank you. No thanks to the rest of you. I always have to rely on Karen to help me out when I'm asking questions regarding technical difficulties. But you're catching. But just not live. Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much. That's very nice. It's great to see you live, though. It's great. It's always better to see you live. I always love talking to you, so that's what makes it better. So I appreciate you tuning in tonight. The show and no tell wouldn't be right. Exactly, Rick. Exactly. So this is really sad for me, because I'm surprised Heidjer's not coming back. He's taking a long time to pop back in. So I'm thinking that it's thank you. I'm hearing and seeing you. Thank you. So what did you miss? You missed a 6-minute screw up at the beginning where we weren't live for 6 minutes. And now my guest, Heidjer, has dropped off the face of the earth and is not popping back in. He dropped and popped back in quickly one time, but then he dropped out a second time and has not popped back in after several minutes. So, you know, I don't know what to do here. I mean, I'm going to give him a little bit more time to see. And especially, I mean, I'm not getting any emails from him. So it could be his internet. Very possible that he's having internet issues, especially since mine seem to be okay now. I would have to assume it's Heidjer who's having a problem. Looks like Ruben has to show his own art this week. If I had anything loaded up, maybe I would do that. You know, let's do a Ruben solo show. But I've done that before, but what the hell? I wouldn't be able to show anything. What am I going to show? Okay, so Heidjer's here. Ruben, tell us about the art on the wall behind you while we wait. I won't, because Heidjer's here. The guest list. He's back, though. Let me bring him in. Okay. Hold on. You're black. All I see is black. Yeah, Heidjer, I don't know if you can hear me, but you seem to be, it seems to be a problem on your end with the connection.
Harmony, what is going on?
Yeah, can you hear me? Because it seems to be your connection, because everything's working on my end so far over here, you know? Hey, Kenneth. Good to see you tonight. Thank you for dropping in again. You can hear him? Well, I just heard him say, what is going on? But that's all I heard. And now he's frozen, and and it looks like he's going to drop off again. Yeah, okay. So thanks. So, exactly. So, hail Heidjer. Okay. All right. Now he's trying to connect. Oh, he's trying to connect another way.
Sorry.
Okay, I got you back. Can you hear me, first of all?
I can hear you. I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, I'm like I was telling everybody else, my feeling is that this time it's something with your connection.
This one was my connection, I'm pretty sure. I told my son to get off the Xbox.
Oh, did you? I feel so bad. Sorry, son.
Yeah, he had it coming.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that might be it. Do you think that might be it? Wow. Because you're coming in loud and clear and you're smooth.
When it's 108 outside on days on end, who knows what's going to happen?
Are you 108 today?
Oh, sorry, only 104 today.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's a cool one. My gosh. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like that was probably it. How old is your son, by the way?
15.
15. Okay. Well, teenager, you'll get pissed off at dad, whatever. You can tell him it's a one-time thing, whatever. You can play video games for the rest of your life afterwards, you know. So
exactly.
Yeah, we'll be good.
I'm okay with that.
I know where you come from, my friend. Oh my gosh. He is back indeed, Tariq. So, okay, so excellent. So, it looks like we are indeed going to have a show, everyone. So, thank you very, very much. I appreciate all your patience. And yeah, hopefully those of you on Rewind haven't already left them a long time ago. Alberto wants you to tell you.
Well, you know, it's funny that he mentions AOL because that's back when I started collecting. I got all those discs in the mail all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I used to get those always too, even though I don't think AOL gave service to Canada at the time, but we used to still get them in the mail for some reason.
What did you pay? They didn't service them?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But okay, everyone. So what I was getting at was that just wanted to say thank you again for hanging in. And we actually have more people here, a couple more people than we did at any other point. So even though we did all those screw ups, that means people still care enough to stick around and then still come in and see that there's something going on.
My apologies for that.
No, don't worry. You know, shit happens. So yeah, everyone, let's get on with the show and tell, why don't we, before or just in case anything else happens. 62 this morning, freezing cold for you, I guess, #1 Marvel fan. and we'll be back to 98. Yeah. It's crazy all over. Every year seems to get crazier. The extreme changes back and forth. Yeah, it's nutty. And yes, he does. Yes, he does. Thank you, CJ, for reminding 29, 28, 28, 29 people. That means there's 8 or 9 of you who still haven't hit thumbs up. If you don't mind, please just hit that thumbs up button right below here, right somewhere around here. Yeah, please, I would appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, so there we go. So why don't we get into it? And then maybe at some point along the way, I'd like to get Heidjer to, if he's interested in doing so, share a little bit of his history in the hobby, just how he got into it and all that, like I usually ask most guests. Would you be okay with that, Heidjer?
Sure.
Okay, good. Actually, would you want to do some art and then in between?
However you want to let it roll. It's all good.
Yeah. All right. Just so we don't jinx these crazy gremlins that happened tonight, let's do a little bit of art. And yeah, at some point along the way, yeah, we'll get into that a bit, Okay, sounds good. So let us do that. And let's see. I don't know who you're talking about here. Been a rough.
Berkey, Mike Berkey. He still
what happened?
Address, yeah.
What happened to him?
He had a storm. I think a tree hit his house.
Oh, a storm in Ohio. Oh, is he
tornado?
Tornado. Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it damaged the house?
Yeah, I think a tree fell on the house is what I heard. Yeah.
A tree. Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Well, as long as he and the family is okay, that's the main thing, right? That's true. That's true. Alberto, you said the right thing. That's true. He must, everything must be okay, and he must have internet access and everything because he did announce an update today, so to the website. So I guess he's fine, but just a financial thing, I guess, and a pain in the ass to deal with. But okay, everyone, let us get into the show and tell. Tonight, I just want to let you guys all know that it was a little bit difficult to get Heidjer to agree to do this tonight with me. Well, I don't know if he did
outside the internet.
What's that?
Outside of the internet.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that's not the good word to say. It's not that was difficult, but I would say that Heidjer was a little reticent, let's say, when I first asked him. And the reason being that for him, like a lot of you guys here watching right now live, and a lot of you who watch silently and then email me privately afterwards, he told me that he felt like, well, I don't, like, nobody's, who am I? Like, what's my collection? I don't have the big pieces that everybody wants to see, whatever. And, a lot of people tell me that. But like I told him, I was like, well, like, if you just go to my homepage of the channel and click, live, you'll see all the 60 videos I've done. I've actually done show and tells with people who have very, very non-mainstream artwork, let alone super expensive stuff, That's not what it's about for me. It never has been. For me, it's about, I have always had a really wide variety of interests in artists, genres, and I look at it in terms of the art and how the art speaks to me. So I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, well, I want to show stuff that's going to impress people because of the value they're going to see in it, when they see the piece. Oh, they're going to know that that's a $20,000 piece. Like, I don't give a shit about that. To me, it's not about that. Good for you if you have art that's that expensive. Obviously, it's nice. But for me, I do the show so we can all have fun together, shooting the shit and looking at art that is entertaining, interesting, And that just doesn't come only from stuff because it's expensive. So that's why I told you, Heidjer, I was like, I don't give a crap. I just like, I'm a horror fan too, and I'm not a science fiction guy. I don't like watching and reading science fiction, but I like the visuals of science fiction. So for you, ever since you kind of rebranded yourself on CAF, what has it been, like a year now, 2 years, something like that? When you went
I've been on there since I think I was under 100 on CAF in terms of signing up for it. So I've been on it for a long time.
Yeah. So that's it, and then when you started sort of rebranding and showing that you're into the whole, focusing on more of a horror and science fiction type thing, I was like, okay, that's interesting to me. I'm never looking. I will never know for sure how the audience will take to somebody's collection. I mean, sure, sometimes I know by the fact that, okay, like when I had NSN Art, Mike, not here tonight so far from what I can tell. When I had Mike on, right, and he's very eclectic. I mean, his most mainstream stuff was Preacher from Vertigo, okay? And then pretty much everything else was like illustration that wasn't even for comics and really, off the beaten path, if you will. But I love that stuff. So I want to show it. If the collector's willing to show it, that's what I want to do. If it gets less views on Rewind, oh, well, whatever. Who gives a shit? We're just here to have some fun anyways,
Yeah.
So don't sweat it. Doesn't matter what your collection's worth, what each individual page worth. Doesn't matter to me. I like it and I wanted to show it. And hey, just so you know, if this is anything to go by in terms of like a compliment on your collection, I typically for a show and tell pick no more than 20 pieces with very few exceptions that I've done. And for you, I believe I've done 23 because I was like, I want to cut. Which one do I cut down? Which 3 do I cut out? I'm like, fuck it. Like, I'll just throw 23 tonight. Whatever. Who cares, Yeah. And you're right. For the most part, it's not high end stuff, but doesn't matter. I just like it. That's all that matters to me. So,
well, it's kind of interesting because I think what I've been trying to figure ever since we started talking about this. I started trying. Well, what's the story behind my collecting?
Yeah,
and I will contradict myself constantly on everything because it really comes down to the storyteller and the artist, who is a story as well, and the story saying that what is the story they're telling, and it's the story that grabs you, and that could be a superhero, it could be horror, it can be anything like that, and you suddenly look and kind of go, wow, that's kind of cool. I kind of want that. And suddenly you have a collection that's all over the place. And say, well, let me find a theme. And I'm kind of going, I'm not sure. And I think it's just storytelling. That's really what it is.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's beautifully said. I mean, you could kind of say that now your theme is horror-ish, spooky type science fiction-ish stuff. You could kind of say that. Well,
it's because I started out, and I guess before, again, I'm already contradicting myself. Before we even get into the art, I started out as people say a reader, and I didn't start with comics, and so it's always been about the story.
Yeah.
And so the story comes in a lot of different forms. You look at some kind of go, and not to start getting comic art political, but this is why Liechtenstein grabs people. It's one panel. There's a little story in that panel, and it grabs people.
Yeah.
And good sequential art, even if it's a talkie page, grabs people.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. And, unfortunately, never as much as the splashy stuff and single images, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So yeah, for me, yeah, it's like, look, so a lot of our friends are kicking in and they're saying great things. So Heidjer, you got a great collection. No such thing as a bad art collection. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Great art is great art. Names are not the deciding factor. I mean, a lot of people don't agree with you, CJ, but that's why I do what I do, because I want to show people that there is more to art in this hobby than just sort of showing off because of how expensive it is and what it's valued at. That doesn't mean it's good. Tariq says Ruben's show has one of the most engaging formats in the genre. Wow, that's so.
When the internet works.
Nice. Thanks, Tariq. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, man. That really means a lot. And Tariq, in case you've forgotten, I have not forgotten that we're about a month away from October. So that means you and me, hopefully we can get our show and tell scheduled soon. So I'm hoping. But we'll be in touch about that. And CJ, so yeah, we'll be showing this one because I love it. Yeah, the Unknown Worlds of Science Fiction, and I got a little bit of tidbit to give you about that, Heidjer. So,
I don't think that was on the slides.
No? Oh wait, what am I? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. We're talking about the guy with the spooky guy with the hood, right?
Yeah.
The old man. Yeah. That's in there. Oh yeah. No, that was one of the first ones. I was like, oh, this one's in. Yeah. So no worries. Can I get that low end Kelly Jones Sandman page? Low end.
A place of pride on my wall.
Hey Scott, what's up? Good to see you, man. Well said, Heidjer. The best art reaches out and grabs you. Yeah, absolutely. Not lately. That must be. Oh, sorry, Karen. That went over my head. I see you talking with Hoarder's Hide, so maybe you're talking to him on that. If not, please clarify what you're talking about. Love great talking pages. Yep. And speaking of great talking page, not that I want to segue, but the link I gave to Karen's new video, that's a perfect example. That could have fit in beautifully with Heidjer's art tonight because it's a fantastic page, even though it doesn't have the hero in action. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So check it out. Evening to you. And thank you for clarifying. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. Good to see you, Mikhail. Yeah, okay. So very good. Why don't we get into it then and start off with the first piece. Let's cue these all up. Okay. So the first two pieces, interesting. There's a reason we're showing them first, and Heidjer will tell us. So why don't we first show the first one and get into it. Here we go. Mainstream, for those of you who love the mainstream. Here we go. Check this out.
So this is one of the two first pages I bought, and this comes. The next one will be the next page, and anytime.
If you ever want me to, by the way, sorry to interrupt, Heidjer. At any time, if you want to tell me to switch and show the other one, you can let me know. Otherwise, I'll let you.
We'll get there. It's not,
okay.
It's not, because the Spectre has a whole nother thing to it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I was reintroduced to comics back in 1992, basically, and I had a little bit of exposure as a kid, not as much as a lot of folks. Didn't collect a lot, but I was reintroduced, and the comic book store where I went in college, and this was during college, also had original art and so forth. And, I wanted to get a piece from Sandman because that's how I was reintroduced to it, and I can get into that later. But I always loved monsters. I grew up reading, a lot of Michael Moorcock, Robert E. Howard, Conan, Elric. Science fiction, fantasy, and I love the monsters. I love science fiction, Murray Leinster, all kinds of stuff. And so back then, I was fairly religious comic book guy, a CBG reader, and this and the next page were in the back, and I think I bought the two of them for $50.
Wow, nice, man.
And I had no idea who Gerhard Jr. was, let alone Al Williamson or.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no idea. I came to this with a story. When I started getting back into comics back in '83, it is an tie-in. And it was I'd run out of Conan to read, and my brother brought home a Savage Sword of Conan from college, which I still have. And it's just like, ooh, more stories, and it was always about the story. And what was going on. And so I always approached this from the story. So I was like, this is pretty cool. This, when I saw this, I was like, yeah, it doesn't look good for the kid, does it now? And I liked the art, and it really was very evocative, but I knew nothing about the story. I had no idea who Daredevil was. And I just like, I gotta have it. So and again, if you think about it today, I'm gonna send, as a college student, a check for $50 with a like cut up from the paper and send me 2 pieces of paper. Like, let's keep our fingers crossed. And I still have it. It's up on my wall. I've always loved it, and it's just a great piece. The funny thing about this was that I looked at this and I kind of go, wow, that John Romita Jr. guy can really draw, And years later, I picked up the Eternals by Neil Gaiman with Gerhard Jr. Drawing it, and I kind of go, and I saw the original art, and I said, this is really, frankly, disappointing. Because there's so much white space on it and so forth. And I forgot who the inker was on it. And what I was told was that that they made all the room for digital color.
Right.
And so all the texture that Al Williamson had brought in on the inks, the darkness closing in, the dread coming in, all gone. And that's not to beat on John Romita, but it really does show how much the inker makes a difference. And how much the new version of the coloring makes a difference. I still love the piece. A lot of people have offered. That's one of the few pieces that people have offered to buy for me, and it's just like, nah, it's the first one. It's not going anywhere.
No, good job. I guess this is it's a good time for me to kind of get into a little bit of your history, only because some of the things you just said actually shocked me. So are you saying, so you were in college, all right? I got the part about your brother brings home the Savage Sword copy. Are you saying pre-college, so let's say childhood throughout elementary and high school, were you not a comic guy then?
Not really.
Oh.
I did this. I have this for you. You'll like this. So here, first comic book I ever had.
Oh, awesome.
And it's British. A British one. So this is something that you'll like about the British one. Look at this.
Yeah, black and white, baby.
It's black and white.
Yeah.
And it's bigger than the average American. So this is the first one I ever got, and it had a variety of stuff. I mean, you look at this. How can you miss that?
Oh, you got the classic scene there. Wow, so fantastic.
So the color comics were not that good. So when my brother brought home Savage Sword of Conan,
that was the issue.
That was the issue. And what you have, like Rudy Nebra's art. Look at that. I mean, that's beautiful. And so it never really, the color stuff, it was just, I bought a lot of Conan. If I could get it on the spinner racks at the store. We didn't have a comic book store. There was no back issues. And so I never really got into like the X-Men and the superhero stuff because and I mean this in a non-offensive way, it's like a soap opera. Mm-hmm. So you can go up in 2 issues and kind of, what the hell is going on? Who are these people? And if you stop back 5 months, you're lost. And if you don't have a way to get the back issues like you do now, you're kind of going, I have no connection with these people here.
Right.
So the reading, if it was Elric or Conan and so forth, you already had the universe, so you could go, oh, it's Hyperborea. I know where these people are, even if you jumped in. It wasn't so foreign. And here's just a little fun thing. I think you have the piece. Do you have the was one of the PCR pieces from Elric? Is that in the slides tonight?
I did not choose the Elric one.
So I clipped out the back here for the Elric book when it was on route. Still have it. So anyway, but it was all about the books that you knew the universe and it was easy to get into. So there was some stuff in the 80s that when I was on vacation, I'd pick up an issue here or there. I think you have the Micronauts the cover on there. That was one of those ones that's nostalgic. I picked it up, but getting continuity was really, really tough if you didn't have a comic book store. So it was really always about the story.
Okay, that's really cool, man. Yeah, because there's not a lot of people in the hobby who can say they really only got into comics seriously like when they were college aged or later. You, Karen, I'm sure there's a few more, but it's not a common story, as much as it is.
Like I said, I'd read them, and I had some Conans and stuff like that. Whatever I get off the spinner rack, at the time for 50, 65 cents and so forth. And in college, I had not touched it for a few years, and I was at college, and one of my friends said, "Oh, let's go to the comic book store." Well, okay, why not? And I hadn't looked at it. It was like, wall full of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure what I want. And the owner of the comic book store said, "Well, what do you like?" And I said, "Well, I read, I read Lovecraft, Conan, August Derleth, Barry Lancer, all these ones." I said, "Well, you take a look at this," and he put a copy of the Sandman special in my hand, which is and that's and I took it home and I read it. I kind of going, "Holy crap! This is not your mother's comics," basically. And I went back, and that's where I picked up the first issue. Also, I started reading the Sandman and Anything Vertigo, and then also picked up the copy of John Ostrander and Tom Mandrake's reboot of the Spectre.
Spectre. I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot over the last few years by friends of mine who all swear that Ostrander Mandrake Spectre series from start to finish is awesome.
It is. First of all, Neil Gaiman is first of all brilliant, and I nothing to take away from Neil Gaiman, but the Ostrander Spectre run was phenomenal. It was. So if you don't know, John Ostrander was formerly in the seminary, and he kind of flunked out.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and so there is a lot of religious iconography in it, and the question of morality. And it was dark, and it was serious, and it reflected a lot of the stuff of the time, which is the fun thing about comics that I pick up. You look at, they very much are, if they're good ones, a mirror to the times you're in. So it was dealing with the AIDS crisis. It was dealing with Yugoslavia. It was dealing with the environment and all these things that were real morality plays. And it was done so well. And the art from Mandrake is absolutely phenomenal. Go out. There's 2 trade paperbacks on it. I really encourage you to read it. It's brilliant.
Encourage me to read which one now? The trade paperback.
The Spectre.
So here's the thing: is that, as you know, I mean, this industry has been treading water for 25 years, and so since they don't really have money, they can't even keep like literally the latest volume of whatever series they're reprinting in stock and in print. Like I over the 3 years ago or so, I started buying the JSA trades by Jeff Johns, right? One of the hottest writers like in the last 20 whatever years. And I get 1, I get 2, I get 3. Somehow I don't realize that number 4 came out, right? So then I'm like, oh shit, 4 came out. So I go on Amazon to order it, and I'm like, oh, not available. It's already out of print. Yeah. And they haven't put it back into print. And guess what came out just now, recently, a month or 2 ago? Oh, volume 5. So I got the 5th one, but I'm missing 4. Like, what am I supposed to do now? I'm not going to, it's so stupid. But
it's the same. The counterpoint is that, if you look at, and I see my kids, they can get a reprint of a lot of stuff and actually catch up with the characters. Which a lot of we couldn't do when we were growing up. If you didn't have access to the back issues, you're kind of screwed. Yeah,
true. But yeah, that's So that's the thing, is I don't want to buy back issues, whatever. I don't collect comics. I just want to read them, and that's it. So for me, I got to get them in trade. So I want to get
or read comics online. There is one you can read it all online if you want to go to it.
True. No, I know, and that's I've been saying that for the last couple of years. Actually, I really do need to make that transition from hard copy into digital and get myself some kind of digital reader, and then that's the only way. Yeah, exactly. There you go. I knew you were going to say that, Marcus. I know. I've got to make that transition. It's just when you're old school like I have always been, it's so hard to get through that psychological barrier, Oh, but yes, I know I need to. So, oh my God. Oh, I got to bail early, Rick. Headed to my son's birthday. Oh, happy birthday to your son. Happy birthday.
Muzzles off, yes.
Yes, exactly. Heidjer collection. Good night. All right. Good night, man. Thank you as always. See you next week, hopefully. Need that tablet for the toilet. No, in the toilet, no. I just want to focus on my business. No, I don't. Yeah. No. I got it in and out, and then I got to relax somewhere and then read there. Trades really are the best reading experience. I've always thought so, Mikhail. That's for sure for me. So whatever. But I will make that transition, and I'll announce it here because I know you guys probably don't believe that I'm ever going to do it. But I will. I will. Dan Evans back. What's up, Dan? What's up? How's it going, man? Yeah. So okay, excellent. But I wanted to also make that one comment before we get to the next piece, real quick. That it's interesting because you had mentioned you got into this in college, and the one common denominator I've realized now is even back then you were getting attracted visually to the art that had a lot of blacks. So,
well, you wouldn't recognize it because in the comics, obviously, it's colored. So, but
no, but yeah. I'm referring more to like Savage sort of Conan.
Oh yeah. I always like the trades. I always like the magazines a lot better.
Yeah, the Savage Sword. You know, you look at that the British comics, no color, and it's got beautiful blacks everywhere, right? And when I look at your collection, that's what I see. I see a lot of pages that have a lot of blacks, well-balanced blacks, nicely composed. Like you said, it's like storytelling is the strength in a lot of them, you know? So, yeah, so that's really cool. Okay, so 5 days worth of business. We'll ask a few issues. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so let's show that next piece. So that next piece, like Heidjer said, everyone, ties, I guess, with the Daredevil as the first piece he ever bought, because he bought both of them for $50. Check this out. So this is Gray Morrow. So this is from the 1988 series, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, I really wanted stuff from the Mandrake Ostrander run, and I had not read this. I would say that it's kind of interesting because, you know, for a lot of the younger collectors, I mean, it was a CBG, or if you were outside the metro areas, you really didn't know how to get in touch with these folks. So I was like, oh, the Spectre. And I was like, well, it's not the Spectre I know, but it's kind of a cool page. And, you know, you have an upside down coffin and it's something funky. So you couldn't complain about the price. And I went from it. And I'll be honest, I don't think it's Gray Morrow's best work. I think he does a lot finer, more textured work. But it's the first piece. And it shows the duality again of Spectre and Corrigan, and it's just kind of fun and a little bit different.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I love the fact that Madame Xanadu is upside down in the coffin. I'm like, what the hell's happening there? But you know, in one of these types of Spectre comic, without reading it, you often never can really just look at it and know immediately what's happening. There's all kinds of bizarre things going on, you know. So
again, and as a title page, it's always a good layup, and you know, it's all very menacing. The 23rd Trump, which was bad enough at the time, and you know, and it's just it puts all the elements in there. What's going on, you know? Yeah, no, it's cool, and you are right. I agree. I mean, by the late 80s, Gray was no longer at his best, shall we say, but it was still decent work. You know, it wasn't terrible by any means, you know. And I'm going to throw in here also, I am a big fan of Tom Mandrake, and back in when this was coming in, when the new series was coming in from Tom Mandrake, also Legends of the Dark Knight. You know, when you looked at the 80s panel page layout, it was still pretty much, you know, 6 panels. Occasionally went a little bit different, but you had the white border. And suddenly you had these full color comics going from, you know, edge to edge. And Mandrake was not afraid to cross over all the panels, and it was very fluid, and it was just very dynamic. So this seemed almost stayed by comparison. But, you know, I went for it because that was what was available.
Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. No, it's a cool one. So why not? That's why I'm showing it. That's why I wanted to show it. Yeah. And again, that's a good segue, just real quick, for me to tell everybody that, as if you haven't figured it out yet, yes, I'm the one who did the picking for the show and tell. So there you go. Okay, excellent. Perfect. So those are the first 2 you bought. From there, we then go to, we're going to go to a couple of really non-mainstream pieces. Let's start with this one, obviously. Tell us a little bit about your interest here, because this is not too many mainstream guys and gals are into this type of stuff, but those of us who are around since the 80s will remember Bernie Mireault's work on this comic, a little independent comic called The Jam.
Yeah, and I was lucky to get this piece from this is one of my favorite comic books, and it's not well known. Anybody who has these or wants to sell these or know what these are, to let me know, because I've got 2 of these pages, and it's basically the retelling riffs on Aesop's fables. And this was my favorite one, which just says, always order vegetarian. It's twisted, it's dark, it's beautiful. Bernie Mireault's lines on this it's visually very interesting. And the third panel with the animals watching the restaurant come and buy them, it's just horrible. And but there this book had one artist do a 1 or 2 page fable and a dark one, and it was Kelly Jones did one, Jill Thompson, Bernie Morrow, Phil Foglio. They're just a lot of fun, dark, twisted, and funny. And I was very lucky to get this. I think I bought this off of eBay, if I remember correctly, and the collector is still on calf. I'm liking the name right now, and it's very it's my dotage is setting in. But I'm very happy that he sold this to me, and it's up on my wall. It's one of my favorite pieces.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I wish it was big enough for everybody, to be able to read it on their own, because it's quite funny. But as always, everyone, the link to Heidjer's gallery is right down here in the description, below the description. So you might want to check it out after the show and just read it. It's bad, but it's good. It's one of these,
again. If you were brought up with Aesop's, all the morality tales, the fox and the grapes and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, morality tales, and it's modernized for the time, and you just kind of go, wow, that's just really, really sick, and I shouldn't be laughing, but I am.
Right. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's one of those kind of things. So it's good. It's worth you guys should check it out and read it. And let's see what Marcus is saying. Pump up the jam, pump it up while your feet are stumping and the jam is pumping. Okay. Yeah, Kid K. Hey, Maki Poo Poo, what's up, man? Good to see you. Excellent. So from there, we go to, I think it only makes sense to go to another non-mainstream. In fact, in this case, we could definitely call it underground. Very strictly underground. A very, very cool piece, and I love the art here. Beautiful stuff here. It's by Gilbert, Shelton, and Dave Sheridan from 1975. An actual original page from the fabulous Furry Freak Brothers, issue number 4. So, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So as you can tell, this is the one where the color definitely didn't help it. Jokes aside, but this is actually a recent acquisition. Again, my brother comes in to play with this one, and he brought back a fabulous Furry Freak Brothers comic from college, and it was a more modern one from '85. This is an older one from the '70s, and it was a hysterical, very subversive, anti-religion type one, where Phineas creates his own religion called fundamentalism. And I was it'd be fun to get a page from that. And about 6 years ago, I moved to Austin, and Gilbert Shelton is one of the patron saints of Austin, and has left his mark here as a Texan as well. And I was like, okay, let me go out and find a page, and I came across this one, and I was just taken by. First of all, it's funny, it's silly. There's a lot of things that play into this in modern times as well. Ancient aliens, drug references, all that kind of stuff. And it's huge. It is detailed, and it's absolutely brilliant. I'm so excited to have this. I mean, this page is probably like 18 by 26. I mean, it's big.
Wow. I didn't know that these were drawn on large art. I actually thought, if anything, if anything, I always wondered if they might be even smaller than your standard 11 by 17. So that's pretty amazing to hear.
Yeah, hang on. I probably have it right here close by. Hang on.
Okay. A Festivus for the rest of us. Yes. Hey, Ron. Good to see you. Yes, sir, TJ. What's up, TJ? Fat Freddy's cat. Exactly. Right at the bottom of every page of the story. Oh, I hope we're going to get to see it live here. Let me hold on. Fundamental religionism. I looked that up.
Yeah, here it is. Got it.
And Dan Evans says, yes, that's a 19-panel page. But not technically, because Fat Freddy's cat is kind of like a strip on its own. So you kind of don't count.
It's an extra one. So I got it here if you want to take a look at this. Is a
yeah. Give me a second. Let me take the image down. And let me make you larger.
There we go.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the actual size.
Okay. Wow. That's nice, man.
Oh,
yeah, somewhat familiar. Yeah, wow. And I didn't want to get as I often do. I didn't want to get accused of favoritism or whatever. So that's why I didn't choose that for the show tonight. Like, okay, but yeah, that's beautiful. And the thing about the underground page is like it's underground. It's cartooning, but boy, Shelton and Sheridan, the level of detail they went into on that, like on their stuff, usually it was always phenomenal. Like it wasn't necessary for that type of cartooning, and yet they did it anyways. And boy, he was a master of black and white and understanding lighting.
And it's funny. I mean, again, reflection of history at the time, what was going on, and amusingly enough, I bought this from Germany.
Oh wow!
A lot of the stuff wound up on the other side of the pond, and they just I think they appreciated it for the art. And he lives in France now, Gilbert Shelton.
Oh, that's right. That's true. Yep. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's got to be quite along in age, also, right?
Maybe about 70s or 80s as well. I wouldn't be surprised. So, yeah, 70s or 80s, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would have thought 80s, but maybe it could be 70s. I mean, I don't know, because even if you're working this is mid 70s, 1975 to be precise. Even if you were like 20 at the time, a young guy.
Well, I mean, this is 75. Well, he was already in California at this time, but I think, but. Texas here. I mean, this was, rest in peace. Jimmy Buffett was in Austin at that time, 75. Willie Nelson, so he just was in the 70s. Willie Nelson, who's in his 90s or late 80s, was here. So I mean, 70s, 80s, 90s, I would guess.
I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess you're right. Hey, Nick. Yes, thank you, everyone. Please, if you haven't done so already, 33 people watching. I don't know how many thumbs up have been hit, but please. If you're watching live, even if you're watching on Rewind, please, most of you never, ever hit the like and thumbs up button. So.
I actually do. I want to point that out.
I appreciate that. I always do too. I always do too.
Even when I can only watch it, it's after the fact.
Yeah. No, exactly. I everything that I watch a lot of college football on videos on YouTube. And if I watch it regularly, I click like on everything. Yeah, man, why not? It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take more than a second. So why not, Yes, Nick Barucci wants us to jump. The parrots are quiet this week.
The parrot heads. That's Jimmy Buffett reference.
Exactly. So beautiful page. So that's very cool. Not too many people collect underground art, so that's why I wanted to kind of show that one too. So that was really neat. Very happy to see that one. And not only to see it, but also show it to other people. All right, so from there we jump back to the mainstream. But when I say mainstream tonight, everyone, even with Heidjer's collection,
as long as it's not the lame stream, okay?
his mainstream is not what you typically would see. It ain't gonna be X-Men. Let's just say that. But yes, love this cover. Wanted to really show this one because man, it's just so much fun. Check it out. Witching Hour number 81 by Luis Dominguez from 1978.
So yeah, Luis Dominguez, how underrated. I mean, he did a ton of horror covers, and what a talent, Argentinian. And I bought this along with a Weird War cover that I have as well, and 3 covers from Anthony, and this is back in New York, probably mid '90s. This one again is not going anywhere. This is one of those stereotypical, almost horror situations, which the covers did so well back then. About, hey, it's my buddies. No, it's not. That's again, the covers from the '70s and '80s are so great because they tell part of the story, and you really you don't need to go further than this to know it's not going to end well. And it's just a brilliant cover, I think.
Yes. So Karen mentions, and I really want to highlight this one because for the same reasons that I love it, it's a nice blend of, well, I guess I would have said science fiction and horror. But yeah, that's what I love about it. It's just so cool, and it reminds me a lot of the old EC comics from the 1950s. And I was a big fan. I am a big fan of the Twilight Zone. So it makes me think of an episode of Twilight Zone.
Well, and again, this is sort of from the horror that I love. It's all the, if you look at the Lovecraft stuff, it's always it's the gotcha. You don't necessarily need to see the evisceration to make it horror.
Yes, exactly.
And when I kind of got into into collecting, right around the time when they were doing the big the auctions at Sotheby's, the EC stuff, it went for what is now cheap, like $5,000 for like a Graham Ingles story,
right?
Which might as well have been $5 million at the time for me. But you suddenly look at it and kind of go, hey, there's this really cool stuff from DC in the '70s. With great writers, great stories. I have a real soft spot for the Filipino artists from the '70s. They just did a fantastic job. And
you and me both, Heidjer.
It was budget friendly for me too. And I hate to say that it's not budget art, but at the time, it's something I could buy a cover for $100. I could buy a title page for $20. And it had the same feel as the EC art, and which was just untouchable for me at the time. And the longer I've had it, the more I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Tom makes a really interesting comment. It's interesting how the word planet was added later, right? Like they had initially seemed like they wanted to just call it The Haunted.
I think it's a case. Let me take a look. If I look at it, it's up on my wall. I think it's actually that the planet probably fell off. These are stick-on word bubbles.
Yeah, it fell off eventually though. But I think he's right. I think because if you think about it, look at The Haunted. If you look at The Haunted, it's designed as one font.
Yeah.
You see, Planet is completely different. So I don't know. It makes me feel like
maybe.
Yeah. Like they wanted it to be called The Haunted. Who knows? But it's interesting. Yeah, like he says, it's just an interesting little thing to point out. And I am a fan of Twilight Zone, and I did watch Twilight, but I can't say I am a fan of it. No, you're not right there, Marcus. And
I have to say this is a crap scan, so I apologize. I'm looking at it on my wall right now. And there's real depth to this that you don't get on scan, because this is when I had it. I Xeroxed this and then scanned the Xerox, so it definitely loses something in the scan. And again, the color really doesn't add anything to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No. It detracts, if anything, for me, anyways. The Zuniga shout out. Loved the Nestor Redondo. Man, I loved all those Filipinos. Man, they were just as a group. They were really, really fantastic. Yeah, Dan, exactly. That's what I said. Star Wars influence. Yeah, no, this it's fantastic cover. There was times when I thought also, what should I collect next? And I thought, I love horror. Maybe I should get some of that 70s DC, you know, horror kind of sci-fi stuff, whatever. But then I thought, I still love superheroes too much, and I don't have money for everything, so forget it, you know. But I loved it. I always loved that stuff. So excellent. So okay, sticking with a very similar kind of theme, we'll go to the next piece, everybody. And for that, we jump more to the modern, contemporary era. And I just really love this page. I had to show it because I just love the artwork. It's so cool. Check this out. And Heidjer, let us know if you've read this or if it's just the art that attracted you. Lucifer, number 18, page 1 by Max Fiumara from just a few years ago. Beautiful.
So this is one of those cases where I read the original Lucifer series as it spun out of Sandman, and was very much attracted to it. And you know, as one happens, it got out of comic reading, and I was actually watching. I think it was one of Bill's shows, if I may mention that here. And they highlighted the show, the artist, and so I forgot what page they had from a superhero comic. And it's like, wow, you know, I'm really impressed with that. And I went to the website. I forgot. It's not Cadence. It's is this splash page art? I think reps him. And I saw this, and I was like, yeah, I have to have it. Again, this is one of those ones where. Now, I am very, very partial to having the words on a page,
Yes.
you know, because it's all about the story. But even without the words on this, the panel layout and the progression across the page, and you know it's Odin and the ravens and so forth. It was just so I don't know, it worked, and it's just like and with the inset on the bottom, I just loved it. I was like, it's absolutely brilliant page. So I went and I bought it, and it was not very expensive at all. And I think there's still a ton of pages available from this, and I think he's a brilliant artist, and I think he has a brother as well who's an artist.
Yeah, Adam just mentioned that. I didn't know that, so I'm glad that you both mentioned that. Okay, so there's two of them. Interesting.
And the one thing, and again, and this is not to get comic art political, but one of there's a lot of stuff that they do which is blue line and then inked.
Right.
And this was pencils and ink, and I'm still a little old school on that with one or two exceptions. So that this was an easy choice.
Oh, it's fantastic. Karen says it's a little scary, but she doesn't like the horror genre, so it's understandable. But cool. I love the wings on the ravens and the movement down the page. Yeah, it's beautiful storytelling. I love the panel design, absolutely, and then the way the crow sort of flies from panel to panel to panel. I love that.
And again, and Karen, it's definitely about the storytelling, and you know, it's no longer bound to the simple progression from box to box to box, and breaking out of the borders, and just how even without the word bubbles, the story proceeds. There is an emotion and an energy to the page that again, the artist has gotten the story, and this is what he's seeing in his mind when he's drawing it, and that's what's brilliant about it.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic, and I'm very, very happy and proud to show that one. Wanted to say hello verbally to you, Comic Art Boston. Thank you so much. I'm very sad to hear that you won't be around. It's already been a few weeks. You haven't been able to be a regular. Here, let me put it up there. But I appreciate you dropping in to say hello anyways. So just wants to congratulate you, Heidjer, on a great collection. It appears that you collect with an artistic sensibility as opposed to mainly nostalgia. So, and that I would say the same. I think you would agree with that, right, Heidjer?
Yeah, it's what grabs me and makes me happy. Which kind of says it's dark, but so what?
If so, he says, he follows it up with, if so, what an excellent artistic eye, if I may be permitted to say so. No, you can't say that on this channel. But yes, of course.
Those who can't do purchase.
Yeah, that's right. That's like most of us, right? Yeah, exactly. Tariq wants to know, do you know, or somebody else will let us know? Okay. I don't even have to ask it, but it's up on the screen, and Adam has told us.
Sebastian, yeah.
Sebastian's the brother.
And they're both rep by the same. Like I said, I think it's splash page art. I could be wrong, and I don't know if that's a problem for you, me mentioning it, but
no.
So.
How weird would that be, though? Two brothers that are artists and they're repped by different people.
Well, I mean, it's possible, but I mean, you always wonder the one. I don't think you picked it, but like the Day brothers, David, Gene, and Ann. I mean, despite the fact they're Canadian, they're brilliant. Sorry, I had to tease you. But I mean,
I didn't see that coming.
What a group of artists, you know, and as a family, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic, absolutely. Also, Maki Pupa wants you to know you have a beautiful collection.
Gracias.
So there you go. And let's see. Oh, and yeah, the Gilberts. I mean, there's an artistic.
Yeah.
I mean, holy crap! Now it's 3 generations. Wow, so that's really cool. Yeah, very, very cool. And yes, Adam, I was just thinking about you, but I was, you know what? I wasn't going to say anything. I figured you're going to be here in 2 weeks. I'm not going to say anything, but yeah. The Day brothers getting mentioned. Yes, he's got some.
And I want to say, art. Go out and check out Gene Day's art. He was such a loss, so young. Yeah. I mean, absolutely brilliant layout, so interesting and different.
Yeah. And just bought a page of the Day Brothers presents. Oh, okay. There you go. Excellent. Well, very, very cool. Let us now move on to the next piece. And for this, we jump backwards again in time, back to the 70s, to a time in Savage Sword of Conan where when I was really young, like 12, 13, I was looking at Savage Sword and I loved Conan and I loved Savage Sword of Conan because it had no color. And I loved Barry Smith at the time. And so, of course, I always loved, as a kid, I loved even when people did good copies, you know, good homages to the style of artists who I love. And so there were a couple of guys at the time who did that with Barry Smith's artwork. And shockingly, David Wenzel is one of those guys, because when you see his art that came afterwards, it's so, you know, it's his own thing. Well, let's check this out, everyone, because it is just astonishing. Yes, again, yes, it's about, you know, it looks very Barry Smith at the time, but he did it beautifully. At least it wasn't a bad copy. He did it beautifully. So tell us a little about this one.
So this is, again, a recent purchase, and this is a secondary story, Robert E. Howard. And I think,
the backup.
It's a backup story, and I don't even think it's a Conan story. And the reason I purchased this is, I mean, the art's absolutely gorgeous, but I knew David Wenzel because my brother, he comes up again, he had bought me a book when he was out in Connecticut for that Dave Wenzel illustrated called Kingdom of the Dwarves, and he had remarked it. And so this came up, and I was just like, I didn't even know that he did any comic books, and also that he did illustrations for Lord of the Rings. So when this came up, I kind of had to buy it. I mean, it's really freaking graphic. Yeah. And again, the time of the Druids, you know, old England and stuff like that, you know, sacrificing a Roman legionnaire. But it's a dynamic page. It's brutal. But the shading on it is absolutely beautiful, and he is an amazingly versatile artist that I just don't think did a lot in comics.
Yeah. I mean, and this was part of the reason I loved Savage Sword, not only because I was a Conan fan, so I enjoyed reading it, but I loved the artwork because more often than not, it was pencils, inks, and washes. You know, I love the wash tones. I just thought as a kid, I was like, wow, like, how come they don't do this on the color comics? You know, these washes.
And you notice you know, I'm sure you got a great scanner, Ruben, but, you know, and bless you for finding the published page. But again, it pales against the original in terms of, you know, they put the black boxes there instead of the white one. You lose the wash and the shading in it, you know, behind the head in the center there. That's all gray shaded. And then the bottom figure really stands out more being shaded against the white background. It's you know, it's a cool page.
No, it's fantastic. Yes, Comic Guard Boston, Wenzel's work. That's when I first discovered him, actually. I hadn't heard of him previous to the Hobbit miniseries that he had done. So, oh, you purchased a few pages recently. Wow. From the Hobbit?
Yeah.
That would be cool. Wow. Okay. Oh my gosh, as you know, I have not really been on looking at cat galleries for the last couple of months. My time is not my own anymore, but I'm sure I've missed a hell of a lot of good stuff. But I hope to get back to it sooner rather than later.
Your purse is better off for it.
My what?
Your purse is better off for it.
Oh, my purse. Yeah. All right, take care, Cab. Appreciate you coming in. Thank you. And Mickey says, David Wenzel sets up every year at Terrificon. Really? I don't remember him in 2019 when I was there. Was he really there? Interesting. And more importantly, Mickey, and no offense to any artist, I don't really care if they're just there. I only care if they're there and they have art for sale. Did he have anything for sale? Oh, he still has Hobbit pages? Wow. I have to ask you, Mickey, what was the average price? I'm curious. What was the average asking price? Just give or take a little bit. I'm just curious. Wow, that is.
There is a dealer that has them for about $1,000 right now.
A dealer has them for $1,000. Okay, that's interesting to know. But I want to know what David himself has them for. And Karen says that the shading is awesome. Yeah, well, it's wash. It's all ink wash. So that's what makes all the Savage Sword and all the 70s Marvel magazines and the Warren magazines so beautiful. Yeah, it's all that ink wash. So the tablet, Ruben, the tablet. Yeah. Let me see. As long as you're watching my calf, that's all you need. Excellent. And oh wow, okay. So David's nobody's fool. So even David Wenzel knows that he's got a good idea what his stuff is worth. Okay. So you're not going to get any super cheap stuff, but okay. It's cool that he has it. That's awesome. I'm glad he can take advantage of it. So yeah, really, really neat. So yeah, awesome page, Heidjer. That's really cool. And I think you said you just recently got that one.
Within the last year and a half.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Goodbye. All right, everybody. From there, we once again jump a little bit more into the contemporary times. Still a couple of decades ago, to a very lamented, for me, I'm only speaking for myself, a very lamented publisher who did everything but superheroes. And yeah, I miss them every day, man. I used to love reading their comics. So Cross-Gen Comics, everyone. And this is a piece showing the sigil that, if anybody knows, those of you who read Cross-Gen Comics knows that was the symbol for the company, and it was the symbol for the entire universe, the Cross-Gen universe. So check this out by George Pérez and Rick Magyar from exactly 20 years ago. Beautiful detail that the color did not do any favors to.
So yeah, so this is one, I'll be perfectly honest, this is a pandemic purchase.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of us, I found myself in beginning of 2020 with not much to do, and I'd watched something about Cross-Gen Comics. It's like I haven't even heard of them before. So
wow.
We'd hire the finest talent and stuff like that, and I started just looking around, and I saw this, and it's like, it's George Pérez, and I said, that's just brilliant. I love the work that went into it. The panel on the top, even without knowing what's going on, somebody's pissed. And you see it, and then just blowing it all up. And at the same time, the illustration at the bottom is so much less detail. It's completely different style. Yeah. And it was just sort of like, okay, I think it was like $200 or something like that. Yeah. I'll take a chance. It's Pérez. And so I just went to it. It's just sort of one of these things that you kind of just grabs you. So this is, again, it's a shame that they don't do trade paperbacks for the Cross-Gen stuff, because I would I've been trying to just go back and buy the individual issues and read it because I think I think it has a lot of potential.
Well, you should know though that they did, while they were still publishing, they still did manage to get out some trade paperbacks of their series.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. In most cases, it was, maybe 2 trades, but for some series, you had maybe 4 or 5, So yeah, look them up. You can still find them, especially on eBay, probably,
Yeah, and a little bit of Kirby crackle in the middle there, and it's just just so much work went into this one page. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And what I love about it is it stuff like this. It allowed fans who could not, who were art collectors, but who could not have, who didn't have the budgets to afford George's work, But if you weren't, again, like I always say, if you broadened your horizons, if you're willing to buy stuff that doesn't have characters that you're not familiar with, it allowed you to buy stuff for really cheap, very affordable prices, Yeah. So now, unfortunately, of course, as soon as George passed away, you started seeing all these guys on dueling dealers with sort of this secondary type Pérez work, suddenly jacking him up, like where you used to be able to get it for like $100 a page. Suddenly they were $300 a page or whatever,
The other thing is, I think Disney owns it now, so everybody's going to with it. You never know.
Yeah. Disney owns it. Unfortunately, they haven't done anything with it, and who knows if they ever will. Who knows if they even remember they had it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the problem. So okay, so technically, since that was from a publisher that I don't know, I guess you could say it's not mainstream, since there was no superheroes and it wasn't Marvel and DC. I guess I can say it will stay non-mainstream. And
I think that's the whole theme this time so far.
Sorry?
I think that's been the theme pretty much. No.
Yeah, kind of. But we're gonna stick with it and go to a very, very one of the, if not the most famous independent comics of all time. A fantastic, a beautiful page. Check this out. Dave Sim and Gerhard from Cerebus 79, a prime period, right around the time that I first started looking at it. 1985. Gorgeous.
So again, the color makes all the difference in this. I started reading Cerebus, and again, as if you read the first 20 or so issues, it's definitely a Conan parody, and it's fun, and it's kind of how I got her. Plus an Elric power, but basically, pop culture. Anyone who reads a lot of stuff from the 70s, kind of got, or earlier, obviously Conan's earlier, and enjoy this, and plus Marx Brothers, and so. I always wanted a page from this. Gerhard always just does such tremendous detail in the background, and this one came available, and again from Germany of all places. And this is it's not an action page. It has the main character, but then suddenly Groucho Marx, Lord Julius, kind of pops out and goes, "Oh, sorry." And it's a great little. Even though it's in the middle of getting more serious, it's kind of silly, and it just kind of spoke to me. And it's all the panels are different sizes. They're all kind of individual, and I don't know. It just spoke to me.
Yeah, man. You don't have to really reach to explain why. It's beautiful. I mean, for me, I think Cerebus is not really one of those properties where, I want a Cerebus page. Oh, he better be in action. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not about that. It's just you would like, as long as there's nice images of Cerebus, that's really all that matters. I think most people agree with that, And this is, it's beautiful. I mean, every single panel, 6 images. It's fantastic. And I love the stark contrast with the super solid black background, the gorgeous cross hatching and all that work by Gerhard. I mean, it's just this is what I call a top-notch Cerebus page in terms of content quality. To me, this is top-notch. It's up there, So
and the action in the middle, it's just all very quiet, and the slam really pops out. It's like slam. It's like, what was that?
Yeah. Yeah, cool. And Marcus says also a self-contained gag page.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, random little side thing, but I love the boards they draw these Cerebus pages on.
Yeah, nice and thick. They're very
nice and exactly, thick, solid. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, so very, very cool. Yeah. I think everybody should have one. I don't have one, but I did once own one, but I got rid of it because I bought an early one because I first got introduced to it for the same reasons, kind of like what you were talking about. You know, that early on it was a Conan parody, and even Sim was trying to do aping Barry Smith's style, you know, and that's why I got it. But then I realized when I got it, I was like, okay, this is fun, it's cool, whatever, but this is not like, it's fun, but I don't care about the fact that it started off as a Smith ripoff and a Conan ripoff. It's really what it evolved into, aesthetically speaking, especially. That's really what I should have bought, you know.
I mean, I think he may have gotten a little too smart for his own good in terms of trying to tell the story.
Yeah.
And lost in the details, but you know, the center run was really quite solid.
I didn't read much, so I can't speak for that, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, I loved it more for the art, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, always gorgeous. So, and yeah, hell, 300 issues. Wow, 300 issues. Marcus, yeah, I can read all 300 issues in trade paperback. Those phone books that he published.
They are phone books. They really are. They're substantial.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. Very, very cool page. So from there, let us move over to another kind of spooky, scary type page that might scare you, Karen. I love the line work here. Ashley Wood, though, really, really great. Shadowman 1, page 10. Yeah, I love this. This does not look like your typical Valiant comic, you know?
No, this is the one they rebooted it under a name. And I had picked these up, and I think the color actually, this is one of the few ones where I think the color does add to it. But he just has such a beautiful ethereal style, and I picked up 3 pages from this.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, Heidjer, because that's the very word I was thinking, especially when I looked at that first panel. I'm like, wow, so ethereal, you know?
And you know, the Valiant Shadowman was like a solid, more solid superhero type Shadowman. This Shadowman, it's creepy. It is truly, truly creepy, and he just totally nails it.
It's really, yeah, it's spectacular. I just love the wispy line work everywhere. You know, reminds me kind of like some of the wispy lines that Mike Kaluta does.
You know, I never noticed it, but they touched up the eye in the 4th panel. It's kind of interesting on the final one.
Oh, to make it more wide?
Well, the original art is wide open, but they kind of shadowed it a little bit.
Oh, they shadowed it so that it wouldn't look like she's kind of looking so wide.
Yeah. I noticed that before.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that, Karen. You love the one panel that Jason doesn't love. Jason's at 1 and 4, and you're right in the middle, the quiet one. Yeah, but they're all beautiful. I love them all. That's why I really wanted to show this page. And of course, loving skulls. I am a lover of skulls and skeletons. So I also have to love that 3rd panel. So you got to say that. And Marcus saying about the Cerebus, the phone books would reduce the humidity in the bathroom. Yeah. Nice. Very Colan-esque. I don't know if I see Colan here, Tariq, but I think I kind of see what you mean, though. And definitely some heavy-ass atmosphere, CJ, for sure. Yeah. A surprise look versus the indifferent look for the eye. Yeah, exactly. I think that's it. That's it. They just wanted to sort of
switch it, yeah.
Yeah, tone down the surprise, the look of like shock on her face, you know. Top panel is like flame mixed with cave art. Yeah, it's true. It's just really cool. Just love the line art. Yeah, Ashwood's great. So yeah, beautiful stuff, man. Okay, from there, we're gonna jump backwards to the 80s, And I'm sure this one will come with a little bit of a story. And this is probably as mainstream as tonight's show and tell is going to get. Heidjer, let us know a little bit, whatever you want to tell us about this one.
So this is definitely a nostalgia purchase. This is one of those ones, as I said, you know, in the 80s, I was buying what was on spinner racks or available in the local drugstore, 7-Eleven. And this is one of those ones that I purchased while I'm on a trip in Florida. Bought it at 7-Eleven, and amazingly enough, I like the Micronauts reboot. It was a very cool idea, and Keith Pollard did 3 covers in a row for this, and all very dynamic. And this one popped up on eBay, and I was fortunate enough to get it, and I'm for what today is a pittance, but it's just such a powerful cover.
Yeah.
You know. Pollard really just nails it. Just the energy flying off the body, you know, the DNA strands. And since this, if you haven't read Micronauts, this is all not subatomic, but it's all about DNA-sized heroes in a microverse. It's the Micronauts, and so there's lots of hints of that, and it's just a really again, it's a nostalgia purchase. I remember buying this on the stands, and I'm just so excited to get it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome when you can find a cover, a page from a book that you got off the stands, right? That you remembered early on. And I'm sure this is I believe this was, well, the comic book when you picked up the comic book, that was back in the days before college, when you were more of a teenager, maybe.
Oh God, yeah, I was probably like 10 or 12 or something. Like that. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that's very, very, very cool. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. Go. You gotta go do something. Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, no, this is really, really cool. Of course, this is the second series. For those of you who don't remember how many issues the first series ran, but I'm sure somebody will tell us. Yeah, but that's what I liked about this cover as well, is all that, you know, atomic, if you will, energy blasting up from whoever that character is in the center. Really, really, really cool. And Dan says, very cool. A 65-cent cover. That price point didn't last long. Nope, just great and cool. Title at the bottom. Love it. Yeah, definitely. The Power Awakened. Yeah, very cool. Yes, so cool. And Tariq says, who's the character featured on the cover? See, that's the thing, Tariq. I'm not sure. Heidjer has stepped up for a second, but once he gets back, we'll ask him and see if he knows. Because he read it ages ago, so who knows if he even remembers all the Micronaut names. But wow, you know that there's Arcturus Ran? Who's Arcturus Ran? Wow. I remember Acro Year. Is that even how you pronounce it? I just remember. Yeah, I remember Acro Year. Is that however you say it, but whatever. But here's Heidjer. He's back.
I don't remember. It's been too long since I visited those characters to know for sure. And it was probably the leader whose name I don't remember, the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
Because in the back you have Bug and you have I forgot the
Acro Year.
Marionette and
Marionette. Yeah.
It's gonna be the leader who's I'm blank with him, the guy with the beard.
Yeah, but you think they would have kind of drawn him with the beard, right?
No, not if he's being like burned off and becoming fundamentally just sort of human form. I don't know.
Yes, but yes, Tariq, exactly. It looks cool regardless of who it is. Absolutely, yeah. It's a really cool piece. And like I said, so cool. It's cool to own something that when you remember getting it off a spinner rack as a kid, you know. And by the way, Heidjer, not that you have to answer me if you don't want to, but given that you said roughly the age you think you remember buying it at
52.
52?
Yeah.
Oh, same as me. What can I ask you? What month?
July.
Oh, happy birthday!
Well, thank you.
It just happened. Wow. Okay. So just turned 52. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So no. So actually, you would have been about 15, not 10, because that was like 1985.
Yeah, I forgot when that came out. Like I said, it was a Christmas holiday. I was down in Miami, grabbed it, and a few other things that I have been fortunate to actually get the covers for as well. Just dumb luck.
Okay. So then you're saying it's pronounced acro or acro? Is that acro? No, it would have been acro.
I always thought it was a Croyer or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? You really have to ask the whoever invented the character, I guess. Then you know for sure. Yeah. So very cool. Really neat cover. From there, everybody, let us go.
Arcturus Ran. That's right. Arcturus Ran. That's the name of the character. The leader.
Oh, okay. And that's the one that's it's funny because that's the one that Tariq actually mentioned at first.
Yeah.
So Arcturus Ran. Okay. Wow. Okay. So good. So there we go. Arcturus Ran, everyone. Yeah. So from there, everybody, we go only actually the same year or 1 year forward back to the Independence, but one of the coolest Independents of all time that I remember nothing about it today other than it was really cool and ahead of its time. I remember thinking, wow, this is kind of like what I've been reading in Swamp Thing with Alan Moore. This is so different. I'd love to read it. I'd love to go back and read it one day. So check this out, everyone. Creepy page. It's a superhero title, but just non-mainstream superhero since it was by Kamiko. The Elementals by Bill Willingham and Rich Rankin.
So I remember reading this and that, and they had a cover actually, which I think was one of the most disturbing covers I've ever seen, which is a suicide cover actually, with the lead character, the woman, holding a gun underneath her chin.
Oh.
And crying at the same time. It was just such it was, again, forward thinking. It was just such a one that shocked you. Yeah. And when this one came up, this came up probably also again on auction, Heritage 2020 probably. And I just saw this. The inking on this is just phenomenal. The line work. It's just disturbing. It is massively disturbing. And if you notice, like on the top panels, the rain's going one way. At the bottom panels, the rain's going another way. And it all just kind of works.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. The Elemental series was kind of like I said, ahead of its time. Just very, very dark and emotionally gripping.
Oh, so that was going to be my next question is, did you ever read the series,
Yeah. Well, I mean, after, because I came out, I think, 86, I probably read it in the 90s, and it was in the quarter bins that you find it, and you just grab it, and it's just like, wow, this is a really good read. But I mean, that's stuff from the 80s, because there was such an overflow of the independents from the 80s. You find lots of really good reading material.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I remember at the time, like when I started reading Swamp Thing in 1984, I was like, wow, this stuff is brilliant. Still my favorite Alan Moore work of all time. The first 20 issues of Swamp Thing, my favorite. And all of a sudden, that same year, 84, Elementals comes out, and there's all this hype on it because it had sold out so quickly, and almost everybody had to buy it as a $5 or $10 wall book in their comic shops if you had comic shops, including me. And then I started reading that, and I was like, wow, this is so adult. Like, I was like 14, right? I'm like, this is really adult. Like, this is good, It was just so cool. It was just the perfect time when all these other independents were coming out. And, just fantastic stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm saying that it's always been a question for me, when you have this moment. The art is brilliant, and I know this is an art show, but you look again at the story and you kind of go, wow, this is what the story can be. And it's always when I picked up the first Sandman, I was kind of go, wow, this is not really what I'm expecting. And whenever that happens, you kind of go, this moves me. And there was even a Spider-Man book for that when I started getting back into this in around. I never got out of it, but like around 2000, called Something About a Gun, and it was about gun violence. And you kind of go, this is stuff that you can do things in comics. You can talk about things in comics, much like Star Trek, that you have a discussion on one-on-one with people to get all incensed and get sensitive and so forth. But you put in a comic book, you can kind of have a discussion about it. and it's the same thing. It's just adult, and you kind of go, this is pretty damn good.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I would love to. That's something else. I would love to just go back and reread someday. Yeah, and Mark, you see what I mean? Even in Singapore, you had to do that. First comic you paid £10, over £10 sterling. Yeah, exactly. The sad thing about that whole thing was that not only did Willingham lose the rights to the characters, right, and the name and everything, but the guy that ended up with it, Andrew Rev is his name. He's, from everything I've read and heard, he's a pain in the ass. He's got money, unfortunately. And so he just doesn't want to do anything with the property. Every now and then he claims he's going to start publishing it again, blah, blah, blah. But he has had people, including Jim Lee. Yes, the Jim Lee. When Jim was... this was after he had sold Wildstorm to DC. I don't know how long after, but at some point after that, Jim Lee got in touch with Andrew Rev and said, I will give you $50,000 for the rights just to let me publish it. And he would have published it through DC, which would have brought those characters back. I mean, it would have been, God, there's so many great things that could have been done with it. But yeah, no. So instead, the guy's like, he's really, I don't know, everything I've read, it sounds like this guy's just a real piece of work. And he'd rather just be bitter and sit on the rights to it and be happy that nobody else can publish the comic. Which is really sad. So whatever, a little tidbit there for everybody. So there we go. Okay. So that's that. Before we get to the next piece, since our friend Nick is here, let me just remind you all to watch the show, The Original Art Experience, every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. There is no show, and of course I know this because even though I cannot be there live these days, I did check it out on Rewind, Nick, and I did see that there will be no show this coming Friday. But everybody else, it is otherwise on every Friday at 7 or 4 o'clock Pacific. Lately, he's been selling a hell of a lot of art from all price ranges. So I don't even want to say just affordable or sometimes high end anymore. Yeah. All price ranges at any given time. A lot of fun stuff has been sold lately as well. So always worth checking out. You never know what's going to appear. And I have to say one more time, Nick, to you, if you're still there by any chance, that once again, I spent 10 minutes searching for the link to the show before I realized, oh, right, there is no show this week. No wonder I couldn't find it. So this time it's my fault. Just wanted you to know. But please, yes, talk to your people and get them to put your episodes as soon as they're scheduled. Remind them to also put it into the playlist for the Original Art Experience, so I can find it there and be able to put the link in my chat. So yeah, so there you go. So the other underrated gem from that era was Eclipse Comics' The Map. Listen, I never read that, Mark. Thank you for putting that out there. I never read it, but there's a lot of underrated gems from that black and white era, from 84 to around 87. A lot. So I mean, we could probably do a whole show talking about what we remembered loving from back in those days. And yeah, maybe work it as a show and tell where we, maybe if I can find art on CAF from all these types of comics. Of course, then I wouldn't be able to have all the owners of the art come on, but who knows? But yeah, good stuff. Yeah, Friday, Funhouse at Nick's place, and Nick at Baltimore Con next week, exactly, which is why there's no show. Okay, so with that, let us move on to the next piece, everyone. And for that, I thought I wanted to show this because this is a fun piece. I like to bring the fun every now and then. And this one I did not know. It taught me something. That's why I wanted to show this one. So the automobile industry, everyone, as you know, with Tesla and all the other major manufacturers these days putting out electric vehicles. I did not know. Check this out. A Sunday by Gene Fawcett, Our New Age. I'm familiar with the strip, but and Gene Fawcett, the artist, of course, mid-70s, 1975, May 11th to be precise. I did not know that the car manufacturers, the major car manufacturers, I never knew that this far back in the 1970s, they had already been working on completely electric vehicles. How cool is that? So that's why I wanted to show this, for no other reason than that. I think this is so cool, man. I guess I wanted to know what was it, Heidjer, that made you want to own this piece?
So what I do for work, I work in new technologies, everything coming out of universities, the future, and it's kind of funny. There was a Neil deGrasse Tyson video the other day, sort of saying that, you know, when you look back in the 50s and 60s, and everybody's talking about the future and seeing, you know, you see the cartoons, the House of the Future, you know, we own rocket ships and stuff like that, and that we've kind of stopped doing that. And I get to kind of play in this world. And so when I see stuff that deals with new technologies and stuff like that, especially the throwback stuff, it's kind of fun to pick it up. And there were 3 of these that were on auction. I was just like, oh, I got to have them. And it's just kind of cool to see this is what they were thinking about and we're working on, and today it's kind of here, parts of it, at least, like even 90% of it, and it's I still pick these up every now and again, and see where technology is going and where people thought it was going. It's just a fun way to again, reflecting society at the time.
Right. Yeah, it's just like I said, for me a surprise. I mean, I really did not know that it was this early on. I honestly thought that they first started experimenting with it sometime in the late 80s. So yeah, to see this, I was like, wow. And you know, this strip was from 1975, but clearly the fact that they're showing, you know, all these like different models that they've been testing, that means the manufacturers had been testing it already, you know, for years by this point.
Well, the original electric cars, the battery run cars, go back as much as the early teens and 20s. And steam powered cars, it's just, you know, petroleum was more efficient, got more bang for the buck, so to speak. And then once they started going down the path, they kind of, the companies took a hold of it and quashed the other technologies.
Yeah. Now, really, really neat. Marcus says that he's still waiting for the flying cars. I think we're all still waiting for those, like the Jetsons, you know?
But listen, we can't even drive properly. I don't think we want to put people in the car.
Exactly. I agree wholeheartedly. That would be the world's biggest catastrophe if flying cars existed and everybody had them, you know? Yeah, no, that's hopefully it never happens. Love the futuristic vehicles of Sid Mead. Yeah, absolutely. One of the, you know, the kick-ass, most ass-kicking futuristic car designer of all time, Sid Mead, for sure. Absolutely. And Tom Kadzalowski wants to drop some knowledge on us. Fun fact, electric cars were around before gas-powered vehicles, exactly like what Heidjer just said. Yeah, very, very cool, man.
So the fun thing also that this page, when it came, actually came with a colored overlay as well. So I took the scan without the colored overlay on it, but I have to figure out how I'm going to display it. I kind of like the black and white.
Yeah, you know, typically what happens on my show, like when I want to show a piece that's large, that takes up, you know, most of the slide I'm making, I typically will make a second slide, and the second slide would be the color one. But in this case, the reason I decided not to do it is because, in all honesty, it looked like a little child had colored it in with
pencil. Yeah, exactly. This is if you want to flip to the other one, I got it.
Yeah, hold on. Let's show it like this, and let me put you on the big screen. There we go. There we go. It looks better like that when it's not too far. But when you look at the color one close up on the scan, it's like, that's telling who colored that, you know? But yeah, so it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Yeah, very cool. And Tariq says that although to be fair, I think they also had schematics for spaceships and time machines around 1975. Well put.
Well, again, the space shuttle was designed in 1968.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they had it not too long after, right? What year was the first space shuttle flight?
Late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's cool, man. Gotta love technology and the advancements that they've all made. Matt, what's up, Matt? Reminds me of the cartoons show that we did at LACMA. There you go. Very cool. Thank you for dropping in, my friend. And let me come here again. Okay. And from there, let us all go to the one true king, everyone.
Elvis.
Some people say a hunk of burning love will not be making an appearance tonight. But
What was the theme for you? Elvis in comics.
Yes. No, but somebody called Sandman, who Mikhail loves, but not quite the one that he usually thinks of. It is the original Sandman by Jack Kirby and Mike Royer from 1975. And I love it because even though it does not have, Sandman in costume, it has all the elements that you kind of love to see in a Jack Kirby page. At least I think so.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I got it. And I had, with the Spectre, when I got that first page, it wasn't the Tom Mandrake Spectre. And so I'd stayed away from the Sandman, the Kirby Sandman, because it wasn't kind of goofy compared to the other stuff. But as I kind of got to appreciate Kirby a little bit more, I'm like, I kind of want a page with some of those elements on there. It's like, and this came up, and it's like, yeah, this checks all the boxes. It's got the character feel for it in terms of what you would expect a Kirby person to look like, and then the crackle and the different parts of it. And it was just a wonderful, energetic page, and it worked within the Sandman universe as well.
Yeah. To me, I guess it bears mentioning. I should mention this, that I'd never been a fan of the DC output that Kirby did. I didn't read it, but that's the thing, is I would just look at it visually, and the characters to me looked so crappy compared to all the designs he created for Marvel. And so I just never was drawn to wanting to read any of it. Although a couple of not even a week ago or so, a week and a half ago, I was out of town, and I was at a bookshop, and I decided to purchase the first trade paperback of Jack Kirby's Kamandi. And I'll get around to reading it. I don't know when, but I will eventually, just because a lot of people were telling me how great Kamandi was. But what I wanted to mention was that the one thing over the years that I certainly learned to appreciate, as a guy who, for whom Kirby was always Kirby and Sinnott, Kirby and Chick Stone, but especially Sinnott for me, I have to say, I learned to really appreciate over the years the inking of Mike Royer on the 70s DC stuff that he did. It's slick, much slicker than most of Kirby's other inkers, but that's not a bad thing. I love it. I really learned to really love. In fact, not only have I come to love Mike Royer's work, I might even say that Royer has maybe moved up now into my second or third favorite Kirby inker. So just wanted to put that out there in case anybody loves Royer, or even if you don't.
But the thing is, Kirby's just it's really weird. He's almost cubist in his approach. Everybody's kind of square. And the thing that got me liking Kirby was the plates that he did for Roger Zelazny's Lords of Light. And it's very Aztec looking, and those are the ones that were used in Argo, and were part of the interestingly enough, part of the whole hostage crisis in Iran. But what's interesting about this page is, despite Kirby's sort of I don't want to say cubist, but straight edge tendencies. There's a lot of fluidity in here, and I don't know if that's him or if it's Royer or both of them, but it makes an interesting combination.
Yeah, definitely. I like it. That's all I can say. And Tariq says Royer on Kirby greater than Coletta on Kirby. Except for Thor Journey into Mystery. That's what I'll add to that. But Tariq, that kind of makes it sound like it's almost like it's not really like a compliment. It almost sounds like you're putting him down, because it's like, most people hate Coletta on Kirby. So to say that Royer on Kirby is better than Coletta, well, I don't know. It's not really saying much, So I would say he's much, much, much better. So, but that's just how I feel. Timothy Finney, good to see you all the way from Japan, sir. I'll put your comment back up. Yes, I'm sorry if I misspoke. I'm not sure I did, but if I misspoke, I apologize. Of course, the original Sandman goes back to the Golden Age, yes. This is the Bronze Age Sandman, yes, absolutely. Thank you for dropping in, by the way. And Karen also says, well, I should say, Karen says that she also, like myself, has the Commandy trade paperback sitting on her shelf. And like myself, will probably not read it for a long time. Time is of the essence for many of us. That's just that's what it is, But let's see. The Kirby look of his DC era all had the Aniston hairstyle. You mean Jennifer Aniston? Are you talking about
Rachel?
And the Rachel, is that the Rachel? If so, I never would have thought of that, Mark. But okay. The Gibbons and Ryan Sook Commandy from Wednesday Comics was an awesome tribute that made me love the character even more. Really, Matt? Wow. That's an interesting kind of tidbit. Something to kind of remember, make a note of for the future. But I got to read the Kirby stuff first. And if I like that, then I would maybe try other stuff, Yes, exactly. There you go, the Rachel. Thank you. So, yes, very fun Kirby. Very glad to show a Kirby tonight. Always happy to show something by the King. From there, though, we will step over to one of the new kids on the block when he first entered the field in the 70s and was quite a shit disturber, if you will. Great guy to listen to if you ever hear him talk. If you get the chance to talk to him yourself, also a lot of fun to talk to. And we're going into the science fiction genre here. To Epic Magazine from Howard the Man Chaykin, Epic Illustrated, #2, page 67 from 1980, about 5-6 years after he entered the field. How cool is this? What a great page.
So yeah, this is I actually got this one off of Hakes.
Oh, okay.
A while back. And I am a big fan of Epic Magazine. Going back and read those again, science fiction, great stories. And I'd wanted some from Chaykin for a while, and I loved his American flag stuff, and his again 70s DC work. And this came up, and it just it's so, for lack of a better word, new wave and science fiction-y, Blade Runner-ish, and it just works.
Sure.
And I actually had him sign it this weekend. He was at a con, and the fun fact is the woman in purple is his second wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
So it was just funny because I was stuck between two people in front of me who were getting Star Wars stuff signed, and a person behind me who was getting Star Wars stuff signed. And so you could see he was kind of getting, more Star Wars. And I pulled this out. He was just like, I haven't seen this in so long. And this is just like, he did this when he was still in New York, and he was just excited to see it. It's a beautiful page. It's oversized, and the colors are just super, super vibrant.
Yep. Oh yeah. Something that the printing of the day was not able to capture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but it is what it is, right? No. So right. So what was the? Was this a
standalone story? I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a standalone, not related to Cody Starbuck. Yeah. And Mark says I have the original hardcover. Stars My Destination.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Stars My Destination. Okay, yes, that's a famous sci-fi story. Very, very cool. Thank you for that, Mark. And Dan says, fantastic. It sure is. Timothy says, love this painted work. Yeah, me too. The color choices are amazing. Yeah, very bold.
I love the facts that sort of like what they take for photo reference. And then I showed you that, like, for example, that before we started, the piece from Jason Shaw and Alexander, and he said that he studied in Kent Williams' studio. That's who was who taught him, and so Kent Williams shows up in all of Jason Shaw and Alexander's works, and he kills them off quite often. I think it's kind of funny. So when you see his second wife here, I think it's just kind of a cool little tidbit.
Yeah, no, that is very cool. And Marcus wants to know, is that his first wife leaping off the railing? Good one.
I think we had a similar conversation about that this weekend.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Mikhail is saying, did he sign it across her face?
No, he was actually. I asked him where he did want to sign it, and he did sign it in the art, but on the lower right hand quadrant, in the orange part, and then silver marker. So it's perfect.
Excellent. That's funny. All right, yeah, that's a very cool piece. I really like that. So from a Bronze Age classic artist, we're going to go to a Silver Age classic artist, but a piece from the Bronze Age, the late Bronze Age. This is one that we mentioned at the top of the show, and this is the one that I'm going to give you a couple of little tidbits about Heidjer. And Karen, I hope you are not putting the kids to bed yet, because this one's also for you. So Gene Colan, everyone, and my first tidbit, Heidjer, is that this is not Tom Palmer inks.
Dan Atkins.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to fix that.
Oh, okay. You found out eventually. Okay. Yeah, but check this out, everyone. Speaking of black and white magazine artwork with wash tones, I mean, that's such fantastic stuff here. The camera work, as always, just brilliant. Beautiful stuff. Pencils, inks, and inks and washes, both by Dan Atkins. Really brilliant. The other piece of info I wanted to give you, Heidjer, was that, in case you don't know, this magazine only went 6 issues.
Yeah.
Okay, you know that, right? And
Yep.
So the story did not get finished, and your page, of course, ended up being the final page of the story that did get published. Yeah. So in this issue, so what they were doing was they alternated this story. They basically were publishing either 3 or 2 pages at a time per issue, and it's called prologue. So I guess that, nice play on words. They put it at the beginning of every issue, and most of the issues, it's 3 pages, but there's a couple of issues, including the 6th and final one, this one, that it was only 2 issues they put in, pages that they published. And yeah, so this was the 2nd page published, and that's it. And they never put out a 7th issue. So your page is the final page published. Everything after this that was drawn, didn't get published.
So here's the fun thing. If you can just go to
yes, you're pulling it out. Let's check this out.
So I got both pages to the last one. So that's the first one, and that's the second one.
Oh, you got that one too! Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, dude! Holy shit! And the size of that bottom panel, especially. Oh my gosh!
And this one, it's just the thing that got me on these is just the whole sequence of the rocket launch.
Oh my, yes. Oh my God, I can't believe you have them both. Wow. So amazing, man.
So
wow. So did I just somehow miss it in your gallery, or did you
No, it's not in there.
Oh, that's why. Okay. Okay. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here, let me just pop it back up while I post other people's comments on it. Here we go. Let's put this back up here. And let us put this. Okay, CJ says, this is a banger. It absolutely is. Karen with her, wow. And the original is much better. Of course it is. Check out everybody. Those are what we were talking about earlier, about the printing of the era. you know, you look at the originals, it's got all that wash, but like, look at, for example, just as an example, the second panel, right? The close-up of the old man's face. Look at all the wash on his forehead and his cheek and his mustache. It's most of it didn't get picked up in the printing.
So what was funny, I had the portfolio with me at the con this weekend, and again, like I mentioned, I was talking with Jason Shaw and Alexander, and it's so funnier to have an artist look at this and really dissect it. Yes. And he just went so much into detail again about like the wrinkles in the forehead and the wash and the details and so forth. It was a really great learning experience in that regard.
Oh, for sure. Always I always say, take an opportunity if you can. And if you ever are at a con and you're within earshot and an artist, you know, earshot of an artist, you know, if you're at his table and he or she is talking about someone else's artwork and breaking it down, it's so fantastic. I mean, if you care about that kind of stuff, I mean, if you don't, then you wouldn't give a crap, obviously. But if you do give a crap, wow, it's so fascinating to hear them break it down. Yeah, it's very exciting. So never miss opportunities like that. Dan says, yes, just great from Gentleman Gene. Love the second, fourth, and fifth panels. Yeah, I love them all. They're just fantastic. The lighting and the shadows is just masterful. Absolutely. So beautiful. Absolutely. And that's why Gene Colan is awesome. He is very awesome.
Yeah, right on.
Absolutely, Karen.
But also have to give the props to Dan Adkins on this for the inking, because I mean it is just you know, there's so much and not overwhelming it. It's great.
No, absolutely, he deserves the credit, because like I said, I knew, you know, you have it credited wrongly to Palmer on the website, but I was like, I could tell it wasn't his. I wasn't sure who it was, and then I finally tracked down the magazine and saw, okay, Dan Adkins makes sense. But yeah, props to him, because it's just not only a beautiful ink job, but like the washes are everything, you know, on these black and white magazines, and just fabulous, absolutely stunning piece. Just goes to show that it's not only Tom Palmer who can, you know, who inked Gene Colan beautifully. So absolutely fantastic. So my beautiful daughter, Arwen, is telling me that I'm very jealous now. Honey, you haven't watched my show in like ages. Why are you here now? And why are you leaving comments? Oh, she's okay. Oh, sorry, everybody. That was Vivian on her iPad, on my daughter's iPad. Okay. Well, I'm often, just to be clear, I'm often jealous when I do show and tells, because of course, if I had unlimited money, I would love to own a lot of the art that my esteemed guests show on these shows. So yes, of course, I'd be jealous of a lot of this stuff, not just this. So is it me, or does the elderly gent look like John Houseman of The Paper Chase? Not sure. Anybody else? And
I just remember Houseman without a mustache. That's you know, so that throws me.
Okay. Yeah, Mark, for sure. Hey, Mark, by the way, good to see you. Fantastic 2-page sequence. Yeah. Oh gosh, I wish I could have made a slide for that other page. Ah, so gorgeous, man. Maybe you could add that page with the Half Splash the Cat, please.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, let's don't forget to go back to Heidjer's gallery. And if you were a premium member, follow the gallery, so that way when he does add it, you'll get notified. So Matt wants to know, is the lettering on onion skin, Heidjer?
It didn't come with lettering.
Oh,
so
none.
I just have the image, so there was no. So I'm assuming it was an overlay.
Oh, okay. Could have been there back in the day, but then lost to the ages back, back in the 70s or 80s or whatever, you know. What else we got? Marcus says he only cares if they break out in song. Okay. When talking about another artist's work. Oh, really? Okay. And CJ says, I think Adkins is underappreciated as a penciler and an inker. I would say so, yeah. Yeah, he was a very, very strong artist. But I guess he was just never a regular, if you will, you know, for very long. And that's why didn't do a bunch of long runs on multiple titles. But yeah, he was always one of the stronger Silver Age artists who, like you said, doesn't get a lot of attention. Although most of the time, guys like him don't get attention because when they switched over to inking more often than penciling, that's the reason. Once they became primarily inkers, people just didn't give inkers as much attention as the pencilers. So that's a big part of the reason. But
and it took me many years to figure out, how important the inking is, and back in the 90s when we first started the comic art L boards, there was so many flame wars about inkers being tracers and stuff like that. But the inker makes all the difference. I mean, you can have a great penciler and it just be completely smashed by a bad inker, and a great inker lift up a bad penciler. So I mean, it's part and parcel.
Absolutely, no doubt there, no argument there. Absolutely. So great, fantastic piece. So happy to show that one. From that one, we are going to go to still, oh my gosh, yeah, a quarter of a century ago. I can't believe it's been that long. One of my favorite graphic novels of all time, because it's an original graphic novel. I've mentioned this on shows before, and whenever I get an opportunity to do a show and tell and somebody owns a piece from this, I always like to show it if I can. Before I show it, just in case, let me check what the comments are that just came in. Okay, inking is tough as shit. It's an art, it's an art form all unto itself. It's a whole different discipline and skill, CJ. Atkins could ink Conan and Kane with equal aplomb. I love the word. Thank you for using aplomb. And you're right. You're right. Absolutely. So this next piece, fantastic read and fantastic artwork. It took him forever to draw this because, of course, a lot of it had to do with looking for the photo reference to make all the setting look authentic. But check this out, everyone. So this is Road to Perdition, the OGN, page 11 by Richard Piers Rayner from 1998. Yeah, man, love this story and art.
So this is one where I actually hadn't read the graphic novel. I saw the movie, and come up, and this is one of those cases where it's not what you expect comics to be. And so I saw this come up, and I was just like, yeah, I love the movie, and it's such fascinating material to actually have as a comic book page. It's like, well, let me go ahead and get this. And do you know how big these pages are?
Oh yes, they're quite small.
They're tiny. They're 8.5 by 11, if that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the image size. So the detail is just absolutely excruciating on these, I think it's the first panel that got me, and just the car, and
the grill.
The grill on the car got me, and then maybe it's a default, but the eye in the fourth panel and the way that it's structured, and it's just it just grabbed me, and he actually has been selling a bunch of these pages on Facebook Marketplace. Richard Piers Rayner has. So again, if you're out looking for a page there, it's still, $250 and stuff like that. It's not a huge amount of money in these days. Still, if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. But it's nothing to sneeze at. But it's not like the $50,000 pages. So it's
exactly.
Price.
Exactly. I would tell people, if you didn't see the movie, I would say read the graphic novel first, since the movie is actually based on the graphic novel, an original story by Max Allan Collins. It's fantastic. And if you have seen the movie and you enjoyed it, I would say still maybe track down a copy of the book. It's a lot of fun.
And it's one of those things, like if you read a book, you do all the emotions, you do all the people, you do all the scenery in your mind. And if you watch the movie, the director has digested that and is telling the actors how to make the motions to that. The in between is the comic book or the graphic novel, where the artist has to take the language, the suggestions of the writer, and figure out how to make those emotions play across on the page, and get the same thing that you would if you're an actor or live to do it. And this does it, I think, just so well, in terms of the details. Yeah,
I could not say better myself. You're absolutely right about that. It's fantastic work, just phenomenal. You know, it's funny because as much as I love the graphic novel and then the ultimate sequels that came out, I ended up buying some Jose Luis Garcia Lopez art, unfortunately inked by Joe Rubinstein, and he had a great career, but he just dominates those pages. So it's not the greatest Garcia Lopez stuff. Still, for the storytelling alone, beautiful. So I got some of those pages, but I also have some of the covers by different artists, and some of my favorite stuff in my collection. And again, it's not worth that much money, but it's some of the favorite stuff in my collection because I love that story so much. And the irony is that I do not have a single piece from the original graphic novel by Richard Piers Rayner. Not because it's hard to get. I know I could have got them, whatever. I could have, I've had plenty of chances, but there's so many great pages. I'm scared to go down a rabbit hole where if I buy one, I feel like one's not going to be enough. And I know he has a bunch still, and I feel like, oh my God, I could easily buy 100 of them, But I don't want to. So I keep kind of avoiding dipping my toes into that water and getting one, But fantastic stuff. I really, really love it. So had to show that, and really happy to. Sam Mendes after American Beauty, but before Bond. Right.
Yeah. Nice
one, Matt. There we go. Okay, excellent, everyone. From there, we're going to jump over to a really, really cool piece of science fiction art by a great comic book illustrator, painter, if you will. A cover for a science fiction series. Let's take a look at this. And this is a piece that I guess Heidjer, it means a lot to you, even though it's not your holy grail, but I know it means a lot to you. So let's check this out. It's mixed media, gorgeous, from what I can tell. Yeah, from the Ray Bradbury Chronicles, number 5, or 5th volume.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces. I bought this a few years back for more money than I've ever paid for a piece. It's huge. It's about 3 feet by 2 feet.
Wow, nice.
And I first of all, I love Ray Bradbury. I remember when this came out. This comic book came out too. So the whole Mars thing in Ray Bradbury and the McKean part of it is brilliant. The cover that I really wanted from McKean is a Sandman cover for the special, and I know where it is, and it's huge. And this would have been my second one.
Okay.
So the person who has the cover for the special, I kept on every few years I bug him. He's like, "Nah, I'm still looking at it." And so, but this definitely is definitely as good. It's just. I actually have it hanging at the bottom of my staircase, and you just sit there and you kind of stare at it, and it stares back at you. It's just beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. And like I said, I've never been a fan of reading or watching the science fiction, with a few exceptions, of course, science fiction genre. But I've always loved the imagery of the genre, and so. When I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, and the fact that it's by McKean from back in the early '90s, to me, I was like, oh yeah, I got to show this for sure. This is fantastic,
I do have it framed. Like I said, it's framed and hanging up in the main area. It's just it's more than I've ever spent for any other frame as well. That kind of actually had, that one had me more shocked than the actual price of the art. But it was all archival and beautifully professionally framed.
So Matt says that when we hosted the McKean Kinogeist show back in 2010, the paintings were all $20K, and now that seems cheap. Wow. I haven't followed the market, so I had no idea that his stuff was. I mean, I figured obviously, Arkham Asylum stuff would be ridiculously priced, but I didn't know that, all of his stuff would be that expensive. Wow.
Well, I mean, I think the prices have gone down a little bit. I mean, like Albert has a cover from Hellblazer on his site for $17,000. And Miracle Man cover went on Comic Links for about 7,000. So I mean, it's come down a bit. So but these are, I mean, very honest, these are museum pieces. I mean, they're in my opinion. So they're just absolutely. I am happy just to sit there and stare at it. So
yeah, it's fantastic, man. Yeah, so glad to share it with everybody. So okay, so kind of sticking, well, not sticking with kind of sci-fi. This next one, I love it. It's a cover which is half sci-fi, half horror, if you will. Another one of those types of pieces. And what's cool is that to me, it's the top half is the sci-fi and the bottom half is the horror. I love the bottom half the most, but I love it all as a whole. This is, oh God, I love this. So let's just show this to everyone from a comic miniseries called Scarab from 1994 by Glenn Fabry. And I to me, just wanted to say, Heidjer, aside from that killer science fiction stuff at the top, when I looked down and I saw, it's not just that, because I love skeletons and skulls, right? But the fact that for me, it's so impactful that I see the one in the foreground, the skeleton in the foreground. At first, I didn't notice because I locked into the head and I'm like, oh yeah, skeleton's cool. And then suddenly my eyes went down. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a woman and her baby.
Yeah, my wife won't let me hang this one up.
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
It's just too disturbing for her, and it is. It's a massively disturbing cover. It is. With and this is I'm blanking on the name of the cathedral.
Hi, Mikhail.
See Miguel. And this the cathedral in Moscow behind it, and this is it's quite awful, and it's a 11.5 by 17 multimedia, and it's an amazing cover. The top is painted, but it's painted on photo paper. It's a very weird texture to it.
But so do you think it would have been a manipulated and stretched out, let's say, like photos of the women and then painted over the photos?
No, I think it's just the paper that they used.
Oh, interesting. That's interesting. And in the meantime, Jason, is that St. Basil's or Basil's Cathedral? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Yeah, the one in Moscow.
Ah, okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so.
Okay, give me a sec. Let me come down. I'll take this down so we can see what you're going to show us in person. Oh man, that's so cool.
So yeah, it's painted on like I said on photo paper with and then put on top of the heavy board.
Oh,
so it's almost multimedia. It's a very weird application. It's maybe they did do the photos on here and then just paint, and then maybe did do the photos and then painted on top of it. That could very well be.
Yeah, that's what I think.
They're stretched so much, it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah. But either way, just it's just, again, it's multimedia, right? It's mixed media. It's fantastic. I would so frame that. Oh, but I mean, I also
She who must be obeyed.
Sorry?
She who must be obeyed.
Yes, I get it. Believe me, I totally understand. Plenty of collectors would not be allowed to hang something like that on the wall. So I totally get it. Just to let those of you interested know, those of you who, like Mikhail, need to leave or are going to leave, I know you haven't said bye yet, Karen, but I know you're also about 15 minutes past the time you usually put the kids down. So just so you know, there are 4 pieces left. So if that helps you, there you go, 4 pieces left. And so let's go to the next piece. Oh, I love this because speaking of paintings, this is not a painting, yet it has a connection to painting. It is so friggin' cool. Let's just take a look at this by the brilliant Michael Kaluta. So awesome. Look at this. Secrets of Haunted House 11 cover. Like, and it's a whole play on Picasso. I mean, just part of the story is. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, and it's he cut around this. This is actually a pretty fragile piece because he kind of cut around. Good night, Vivian. To kind of put this all together, it's interestingly enough, his girlfriend helped him ink it at the time, and that he told me that when I asked him about it, because I showed it to him when we were at a Baltimore Comic Con. So it's a cool piece, just it's just funky.
Yeah, like CJ says, Ditko-ish cubism. Yeah, it's just really, it's so different, you know. It's so different. It's like Picasso came to comics, you know. So it's absolutely fantastic. Getting close. I know. I guess you weren't paying attention to what I said, Karen, or maybe you did, but you'll try to stay to the end. Okay. Well, I guess maybe you did hear me. Yeah. So after this, there's 3 more pieces. So just so you know, okay. Night CJ. Like, oh, okay, Karen. And really cool Kaluta cover. Yeah. Very cool. I was like, man, yeah, it's like the melding of the fine art world and the illustration world together. And which is a nice juxtaposition because, you know, historically speaking, fine art people can't stand illustration. And of course, we illustration fans despise those fine art people for the reasons that they hate us for hating our, you know, for loving our illustration. So it's a nice mix of both worlds. And I just think, I had to show this. Really fantastic. Tell me though, Heidjer, have you owned this one a long time, or is this a more recent one?
Yeah, this is. I've had this for about 20 years.
Oh, nice. Wow. Okay, very cool. Tariq says, yeah, really cool Kaluta cover. Heidjer, you have excellent artistic taste. He wants to let you know.
Thank you.
And my wife has not gone away yet. Says, good night, Heidjer. You have a wonderful collection.
Thanks, Vivian. I appreciate it.
And Matt says, the only Virgil Finley pieces I own are his abstracts. Oh, interesting. Because most people don't want those. So that's interesting, Matt. Very cool. More comments by Timothy. Kaluta did some fantastically creative covers for the mystery books. He did indeed. Yeah. That is very true. Very good point there. Very good. Thank you. Okay, so from there, let us go to the third to last piece, which, oh God, I love this one, Heidjer. Oh my God. I sat there thinking, it's probably like the only, like it's the least known piece of all tonight. Not only in terms of, you know, some piece that nobody's ever seen before, but the least known artist of the evening. And it's like it's not my favorite necessarily, but one of my favorites. This is like, look, everybody, when you see this, tell me you don't see Bill Sienkiewicz, but not when he first broke in, but after he started getting to the end of his Moon Knight run, okay, in the early 80s. But this is a few years before he actually broke in. And this is by somebody most people don't know. I love this. It's so beautiful. Check this out. So from The Witching Hour, number 55, the first page of the story, Ernesto Patricio, 1975. I wish I could show it larger to see all the cross-hatching on the man, the woman, the cops, whatever. Just stunning illustration. And I was in love with this when I saw it. So I was like, oh, gosh, this is the kind of thing that it comes up. It doesn't sell for a lot of money because, you know, it's just whatever, random people. It's not superheroes. It's not a superhero comic. But it's so beautiful. You pick it up at a steal, most likely. And you love it forever. So I don't know. Talk to me, Heidjer.
I think I probably bought this for about $25 at the time. and I have about, I would guess, probably close to 200 of these title pages.
Wow.
And I just love the kiss the boys and make them die.
Make them die. Exactly. That's another great thing about it. I love that.
And,
great fun.
again, Ernesto Patricio, one of the Filipino artists, just amazing detailed pencil work. And if you look at that bottom panel, I mean, what a beautiful woman, very 70s oriented style.
Yes.
And then the coloring put it in, but like the white body in the middle, it's blank space, but it's just it works. It kind of pulls your focus in and lets the darks work. It's a beautiful page, and again, the title lets you know what's coming, and it ain't good.
Oh no, exactly. Light-handed foreground going to deeper background, keeping the eye moving. Well said, CJ. Yeah, it's perfect. To me, it's like a perfect page to just love and pour over in person. I can't imagine how fantastic I would love to just see this and study it in person. All the line art. Oh, yeah, it's just beautiful.
And Carl Wessler always had a good turn of phrases like that's a titillating tempter of what lies in store for you, gore, greedy gremlins.
Yes, and I wanted to mention, because you brought it up, Heidjer, the girl, the close-up of her in the final panel. I don't know if anybody watching tonight is familiar with it, but there was a British newspaper strip called Tiffany, and if you track some of that down, that's what her face reminds me of. It reminds me of the art from that Tiffany newspaper strip. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, very, very beautiful. And Dwayne Zapane says the little creepy fella in the middle. Yikes.
That's actually a witch.
That's the witch, exactly. It's one of those witches. Yeah, chubby faced witch. The little creepy fella. That's awesome. Yeah, so I love this very, very much. So man, thank you for having it so that I could show it. I love it. Okay, so two more, everyone. I think my favorite piece of tonight, but it's always hard. It's hard for me to choose favorites. Absolutely one of, could very well be my favorite. God, I love this, and I have to show it in full because you've already seen it, everyone. You've seen it on the thumbnail, but we're gonna see it here in full, and I just love this. It's so fantastic. It's the Spectre number 23, cover by Christian Alamy, 1994.
Yeah, I usually don't go for the heroic pose. I really do like the covers that say something. But again, this series really spoke to me. So when this came available with his 16 pack that he has, there's some of it's a little bit is maybe a little bit silly, but he's a supernatural character. He can have a 16 pack. So this is funny. I bought this off of Wildstorm Arts. When Scott was doing it. And,
right.
Yeah. So this was $800 at the time, and they had a second Spectre cover, the one by Brian Bolland, for $1,200. I really wanted both of them, but I had $800 to spend. So this is the one I got. It's hey, what are you going to do? But I still have this, and it was my first painted piece I ever bought as well, and I just still just love it.
Yeah, it's just. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I mean, I love the Spectre as a character and his visuals, just his visual appearance. And when people paint him, which of course this series had tons of painted covers, it's just, I don't know, I just love it. I can't get enough of it. I just really love it. And of course, it being kind of horrific, that adds to it for me anyways. It's
just such a good story. It just, the first 10 issues, the serial killer issues, are brilliant, and his struggle, his morality struggle between good and how do you if you've not, there's probably a lot of Marvel folks out there, and the character is just a quick synopsis, is a cop who gets shot, and he goes and he faces judgment by God, and he challenges God. Why does he let good people die and bad people go free? And God throws him back in this form to figure out, how dare he challenge him what's good and evil until he learns it himself. And so he has to go through the world determining it. It's just so powerful and really well done.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, and it makes me it reminds me of back in the early to mid 2000s when these Spectre covers, a lot of painted ones were coming out at the time. But, you know, at the time, whatever, I was into the Incredible Hulk. I was collecting Hulk art as my primary focus. And I love too many things. I love way too many comics to ever, you know, be able to collect all of it. But my gosh, when these covers, these painted Spectre covers were coming out, and like you say, they were like in the, you know, it's multi-$100 range. Oh my God, they were so beautiful. I was so tempted. I always wished I had more money because I was like, oh God, I wish I could buy them all up, you know? And every time I see them, I'm like, God, I wish I had at least one. And boy, this is just a beautiful one, man. And it's like, it's so, so good. I look at this image and it makes me think, and I've said this on my show before, it makes me think, I look at this image and I'm like, man, how does Hollywood not see this and realize they have a cool superhero-ish, but in a horror genre vein, maybe, or supernatural type movie, you know, a possibility for something like this?
Well, you know, it's funny because I think, you know, the Marvel folks have been doing really good with the superheroes. And I think DC does better with the supernatural dark characters in terms of Hollywood and the movies. So this could be a crossover for them.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Oh man, there's many Dr. Fate, so many characters they have that would be just perfect for it, you know. But whatever, I'm not running Hollywood, so all right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. Those of you who have stuck around, because I know that the time is getting late, and we will be finishing up in the next few minutes. So I just want to say there's one piece left. Awesome Spectre cover, says Wes. What's up, Wes? Been a long time. Jason, you're leaving. Thanks for sharing tonight, Heidjer. Thanks, Ruben. Good night, everyone, and have a great week all. All right, sounds good. You're leaving before the last page, though, Jason. I understand, though. But have a good one. Have a great week, man. And Ruben the Feige, yeah, I wish. Good night, Jason.
We'll be doing this then.
Hey, Jason, even Karen stuck around. She has multiple kids to put to bed, and she stuck around.
Hi, Karen.
You're a betrayer. I'm kidding. But yeah, Dan, yeah, absolutely great Spectre. Wow, amazing. Okay, so everyone, the next piece is the piece that means the most to Heidjer. That's why we're showing it last. It's not, you know, I usually put the last one as the one that I think would be the coolest. So maybe the one we just showed, I might have chosen for the last one. I'm not sure. Or the colon page, who knows? But this is the one that means the most to Heidjer. So this is the one we chose or I chose for the last one. And this is a character we've spoken of earlier tonight, but not the same character, same name, in name only. Let's check this out. Sandman from issue 36, page 35 by Sean McManus from 1992. Tell us about this, Heidjer.
So this page, you know, as I said, and this actually has a great story that goes with it, and it is my grad page. When I had gotten back into comics, again, I was like 1990, 1991, whenever it was. So I was maybe in 92. Yeah. Anyway, this came out later on after I'd started reading again, and I saw this page, and I just loved that last panel. The idea of him picking up a whole country that he created, and the next page is one where he just lets it blow into the dust. So I was still at college, and I really wanted the Sandman page, you know. And this is from A Game of You, the series.
Oh, this is from A Game of You.
Yeah, this is from A Game of You, Sean McManus, and
okay.
So this page and the next page were just absolutely my favorites. And so I only had about 5 pages at this time, so I was pretty new to collecting. And after college, I tried to find Sandman pages, and again, no internet, nothing like that. You can find a Sandman page to save your life. And I after college, I went over to Switzerland. I was working for the UN for the time, and I'd gotten to Geneva, and I'd been living there for maybe a week and a half. I didn't know anybody, and the best way to find your way around the city is just start walking in. And Geneva is about as harmless as you can get.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking along, and I come across a comic shop, and it's a Sunday afternoon. Everything's closed in Europe. So, and this is the time when this comic shop, they had Night Before Christmas dolls, which was big at the time. They had the big lenticular posters and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I cross behind it, and they have a whole room of original art. And on the wall is this page, and I'm gonna have this like, that can't be. I'm like a kid with his face pressed against the window at a bakery, looking at the the fresh.
Yeah.
I was just, oh, holy shit! This just can't be. The page I want in the middle of frickin' Switzerland randomly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was Sunday. Monday, I had to go to work, but as soon as work was out, I was at the comic book store, money in hand, and I bought this and a Kelly Jones page for 125 Swiss francs a piece.
Wow. Oh my God.
And, I mean, he had a ton of great stuff. He had, a bunch of Arkham Asylum pages by McKean. And it's just one of these things that, like, you don't think you just stumble onto your Grail page, and especially not for what is for you middle of nowhere. It's not where I would have expected to find it. But
yeah. Like Karen says, it was fate.
Yeah, it was fate.
Yeah.
So it was just I would have loved to gotten the next page as well, but happy with what I got, and so yeah, it's been in my possession ever since, not going anywhere.
Wow. And remind us, I guess. Do you remember the exact year you picked it up? This
would have been 94. No, sorry, 93.
93. Wow. So tied up with you for 30 years, basically, at this point.
Yeah, I don't sell my stuff. So it goes my definitely black hole collector. It's just if it comes in here, it sort of stays with me.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Great story to go with it. That's what makes it so even more amazing.
Well, and the funny thing is, when I was in college, when this came out, I had actually Xeroxed the bottom panel and blown it up, and it was hanging on my wall in my dorm because I loved it so much. So it was just weird that I would have it.
Yeah, that is so okay. You guys hear that? He Xeroxed the bottom panel, blew it up, and put it on his dorm wall in college. How crazy is that? And then he's in Geneva, Switzerland, of all places on the planet, and he finds the original artwork with the panel on. Like, that's just, oh my God, it's insane. Just an amazing story. Like Karen said, like in these situations, it is fate, It is. It's just whatever serendipity, whatever caused it to happen. It's like Dan says also, funny how the universe works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Jones? Who's Jones? What's Jones?
Kelly Jones?
Kelly Jones? Why, did he ink it or something?
No, the other page I had was a Kelly Jones page.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And good evening, Paul. Good to see you. Thank you for dropping in. I don't know if you just came in recently or if you've been silently watching, but lovely to have you. And Dwayne Zapane says, lovely collection, Heidjer. It's great to see different themes on here, and that's why I do this. And this was a joy. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
So there you go. Matt says, any page with Morpheus is a great get. Well, that's clear to Sandman fans. Karen says, great show tonight to both of us. Great collection, Heidjer. Thanks for sharing. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
And everyone be sure to check out Karen's pages, her channel, and her latest unboxing video of a nice, well, I won't say what kind of a page it is, but check that out. Yeah, so Casey Jones, isn't that the guy from Ninja Turtles? I think it is. Great show, says David. Thank you as always, David. I appreciate it. You don't got to drop down to your knees and pray for us, though. But we appreciate that. A good night to you. Cheers to you. Let me just quickly come back. Just want to say thanks to everybody who stuck around. I know it's gone to almost a 3-hour show, but then again, that's kind of like my average. So it was a lot of fun. Heidjer, thank you so much. I really not only appreciate you doing this, but more so because of the fact that you were reticent at first, and I'm glad you let me convince you to do it,
I appreciate it. I'm glad I could share it with everybody. Thanks for the kind words, everyone.
That's very, very, yeah. You're all very, very nice. That's what I like. Everybody comes here and they're always very polite and They love to give comments to the artwork and to the collectors who own the art. And that's what this is all about. It's just about having some fun with a bunch of friendly collectors. So, CJ, thanks for sharing your diverse collection. Heidjer, thanks. Ruben and the chat. Thank you as always, CJ. Really appreciate it. Oh, Ian's back. Well, caught the very end. We'll catch on rewind. No worries, Ian. Thank you. And yes, NSN Art. Mike, great collection. I know it would be up your alley if anyone, if it would be anyone's. So yeah. So that's the thing, guys. If you're listening to this, if you're watching, whether it's live or on rewind, please understand I am the antithesis of someone who only cares about expensive artwork that excites people. I like to show different types of art, different types of artists, different genres. I just want to show as much different types of art, of comic book art, as I can to as many people as I can. I want to expose people to as much variety as I can. So that's what my channel is about, and doing it while still talking to all of you who come in live. So we all do it together, you know? So it's not like an interview. And so that being said, if anybody out there would like to do a show with me, show and tell, I'm all ears. You can always email me. Here, let me just show you my email here. So it's my name, Ruben the Collector at it's Gmail. So that's easy enough to remember. If you remember my name, you'll remember it's Gmail. Yeah, reach out to me because next week we've got another show and tell happening. Boy, we're lining up tons of show and tells. So we got one next week with our friend Jason Richardson, who is away at a con, I believe, this weekend. That's why he's not here tonight. Otherwise known as Southern Comic Geek to you guys.
No, he's a Dragon Con.
Sorry?
He's a Dragon Con in Atlanta, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Exactly. And so he's there. But the week after that, I still have open. And then I booked with Adam Law the week after that. So, 2 weeks from tonight, still open on the 17th. Anybody want to do with me? It doesn't have to be art that you think everybody's going to freak out over. It doesn't matter. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff, everyone. If your collection consists of $100, $200, $300 pages, that's fine. If it's something that's interesting, reach out to me. Let's talk. So anyways, thank you, everybody. Heidjer, can you hold on for another minute or two?
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. But I'm gonna mute you, and I'm gonna leave off with the as I always do, the thumbnail for next week's show. Is that good?
Yep. Good night, everyone. Thanks again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so with that being said, please, everyone. Oh, Dan says Ruben is the real deal and fun. Highly recommended. Thank you. Hey, you're so very kind of you, Dan. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And again, my show with Dan 3 weeks ago or 2 or 3 weeks ago, a lot of fun, everybody. So if you haven't caught that, catch it on rewind if you can. Tom, thank you, of course, for sticking around for the whole show. Awesome. Always love to have you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Always happy to see you, no matter how long or how short you can stick around. So thank you. And Dan wants you to know, Heidjer, that you did a great job. So fantastic. So thanks again, everyone. Please, I'll leave you with next week's thumbnail. And so for that, we go to this one. And so this is going to be, as I said, with Jason Richardson, Southern Comic Geek. I don't know Jason very well, but he's a nice guy. And for that reason alone, I'm looking forward to doing my show and tell with him. And hoping that we all get to know a little bit more about Jason. He's one of the 47,000 Jasons I know in this hobby too, so why not add another one to the list of show and tells. So that's it, everyone. Thanks again for all your support. Please, if you haven't done so, hit the thumbs up, the like button on the way out before you leave. Would really appreciate it. If you're watching and you like the show and you think you'll be back, please consider hitting the subscribe button too, so you get notified of what shows are coming up. So thanks again, everyone. And that's it. Have a great week. And I will see you next week on Sunday at the usual time. And go Lions on Thursday night. Go Lions, baby. Cheers, everyone.